Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bump in the Night Paranormal Radio, Episode 7. I am Matthew Ferry. I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Christian Sakara,
Patrick Palella,
and the guest host for the evening,
Callie.
So tonight, we're kind of doing something different. We don't have 3 topics per se. We have 2 topics that tie into a third topic, sort of. Mm-hmm. And what are those topics, Christian?
Well, this evening we will be talking about vampires, Salem witch trials, witches, and we're going to touch base on the Sleepy Hollow.
Which, oddly enough, has an article featured
in this book.
I'm going to give a shout out to this real quick.
Yep.
It's actually featured this month, Sleepy Hollow, in the Life Halloween special, the world's most haunted places. It's a little thin for what I would hope from Life. Yeah. Life's usually, very thorough.
Well, it's only supposed world's most.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Life's usually
thicker. Yeah.
Yeah. So little shallow there, Life. But I am glad that they released one, and it's weird that they have Jack the Ripper on the back. It looks
Is that Jack the Ripper?
Well, it's a beefeater, but it kind of gives the shadowy figure in the.
It's actually
I don't even think that's
people standing outside of the Tower of London.
Well, that's a beefeater.
Oh man,
that's what he's called.
Beefeater?
Yeah, it's the type of soldier that stands outside.
I'm trying to see if he's in here anymore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, also featured on the bottle itself of Beefeater gin. That's what the gin was named after.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I grew up with an English family, cool. Sort of. So. Oh, Rome. That's the. Is that the?
Erie, Rome, in Italy.
Is it the Colosseum?
I think so. I don't know. It just says Erie.
Yeah, you know what's weird? You know why it looks like that?
Why?
Because that was covered and it was a floor, and then they had chambers down that things would be in that they would bring it, in the movie Gladiator. There would be different things. Then they used it as a bazaar at one point, you can go and shop there. But when it was an actual Colosseum, they had people that would be tossed out in trapdoors and lions and stuff like that hidden in there.
Oh, shit.
So it was a very high-tech facility for its time.
Way up there.
So, what do you want to start with tonight? I guess we were already talking about.
Do you want me to read what it says?
No, that's the Kremlin. We're not talking about that.
No. Sleepy Hollow.
No, I don't want to do word for word
Sleepy
plagiarism.
After
it's kind of plagiarism. I just want to give a shout out. There's an article, and there wasn't really much on Sleepy Hollow. I know that Washington Irving, the guy that supposedly created the story, from what I understood as a kid, he actually just wrote a story based on a legend that was there. So there's a lot of toss-up on if it's a real tale or not. They apparently have massive Halloween things going on every year. You can do nighttime tours of the graveyard where Washington Irving's buried, and also
makes sense.
You can also see the crypt of Barnabas Collins. I did not know that, but Dark Shadows also filmed some scenes there with Barnabas Collins' crypt. Which is weird, because I thought that took place in Maine.
Do you know the name of the village, what it used to be?
What it used to be?
Or what it was formerly known?
Was Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It's called North Tarrytown.
Well, I think, is that originally what it was called, or is that...
Yeah, it says the village formerly known as North Tarrytown.
That's strange, because it was saying that it was part of North Tarrytown, but it was a small... Sleepy Hollow was a village within something else.
It says supposedly, though Irving invented the name Sleepy Hollow, he invented it.
Okay. So, when Washington Irving created this story, it took off. People still believe it's haunted. I always wanted to do a paranormal investigation of the supposed church and bridge.
I would love to. Oh my god.
But it's not real, so there's no point to
well, I would just love to just go and
especially if you look up
there.
Well, if you look up the different parties and stuff they have going on every year, they have a wine cocktail thing where you hang out. They take a mansion that the supposed mansion that the what are they called? The characters of Sleepy Hollow, their rich family. The Von Tesses?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. What was it?
I have no idea.
It was the Von something.
It's gotta be Katrina Von Tassel?
Yeah, Tassel.
I was so close.
It's very close.
They, I guess the mansion that it was supposed, Washington Irving took the idea for that rich family. They turn it into a haunted mansion every year, and they have parties and they walk through it.
Supposedly, the old Dutch church in Burying Grounds is the oldest church in New York State.
Washington Irving is buried either in that one or another one in Sleepy Hollow. He's actually buried there, so that's kind of a cool thing that they did for him, I guess, in honor of him.
Oh, they have 2 whole pages about. Well, not 2 whole.
Yeah, so it looks like an interesting. I haven't been able to read anything.
I'm just skimming through it.
Patrick brought it over. He got it just now, so we didn't get to read through it. But yeah, go pick it up. It's on newsstands now. You get it at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Walmart.
Oh,
I can't believe I just gave a shout out for Walmart. Life's always kind of pricey. That's the only thing.
It's probably best to get it at Barnes and Noble.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you can get the. If you remember, you can get. Oh God, I'm endorsing them.
It's fine. I just endorsed Walmart, and I can't stand Walmart. So
Barnes and Noble's better.
Yeah, I just said I can't stand Walmart.
If you remember, get 10% off, even on magazines.
And if you're into paranormal stuff, I've gotten a lot of good bargain books there for paranormal. Like they always around Halloween and season time, they always have these bargain book sections.
Yeah, me and Christian, second time we met, we went to my Barnes and Noble, and he was like, "Where's the supernatural section?" I'm like, "Over here." And he's like, "Ooh, look at all these books." I was like, why? He's like, "Oh, I do a podcast." I'm like, "Really?" That's how I learned he was into the paranormal.
One of many. No, me and him have been
yes, I know, but about this one.
No, but we've been a paranormal. This is how this started. We were paranormal investigators for a very long time together, as far as starting our own group. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it for close to 20 years now. I started when I was younger.
Oh my gosh, you're so.
I'm 33, but I've been doing this since I was like 13. I'd go into old places that were in Fort Pierce and take pictures and ask questions.
House that you were obsessed with.
That house is amazing. I wish that house was still standing.
Oh, I told him I need to see do you have pictures of it?
You could, yeah. There's no
because I told him I was like I need to see pictures of it because I was driving home the last time I was here, and I just started spacing out and I started thinking about that house. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can say is the front it was just a square Victorian looking house.
Was there a tree on the outside to the right if you were facing it?
No, it was on the left. But yeah, that tree. This is a weird story about this. This tree supposedly.
Didn't it get cut down?
No, it fell into the house. So supposedly, from what I understand, my friend knew how much I loved that tree and wouldn't be or that house and wouldn't be on anything with that house because I was actually trying to purchase that house. Mm-hmm. I was young and probably couldn't have afforded it. I was even trying to get it as a historical place because it was old. It was so old that there was no recorded address. Like that house supposedly didn't exist to city records that my dad looked up when he was doing his job as a probation officer. Mm. So the house was weird. Bad things happened in the house. Not going to go back into it. I think I talked about it before.
Yeah, I think I remember something about
I don't want to
or something.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible. But
you slept in it and you were happy.
Oh, no, I wasn't happy. When I slept in it, I was actually homeless, and it was nerve-wracking. It was You would hear footsteps. You would hear whistling in the hallways.
Yeah, but were the windows closed?
Well, the windows were all mostly broken out, so the whistling I can attribute to.
Yeah.
But when it sounds like it's making an actual what's the weirdest thing is I swore I always heard whistle while you work. Like coming down the hallways, and that was the weirdest thing.
And there was nobody that would pass, walk somewhere.
No, because this is out by the turnpike, and downtown, or not downtown, but down by the turnpike in Fort Pierce. So it's out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. Like there's a place where all the bus stops and stuff are, which people would drift, and that was my main worry. Like I don't know if anything was really haunted, but it was nerve-wracking because you'd wake up hearing footsteps coming up the stairs, you'd hear whistling, you'd hear rocking on the patio deck that was out back, or out front.
And there was no rocking chair?
No, there was no rocking chair. No, everything was destroyed. There was a claw bathtub that got thrown out of a window somehow, that the window didn't shatter. The bathroom, if you took this claw bathtub and somehow pushed it out of it, you'd tear the whole wall off.
Yeah. Because claw bathtubs are huge.
Yeah, I don't even.
Heavy as
the reason that was still in there is the only way they got it in there is if it was put in there when they built the house, and that's why they put it up or they put it in and then put the wall up.
Oh, so they built around it.
They built around that, yeah, and somehow that ended up shattering on the back patio area without messing with the wall or anything. The window? Yeah, it was a weird house. I love that house. There was only one way into the nursery room. And that was through the parents' room.
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about
really that. Fucking weird house. Loved it to death. There's this little mini, in the stairs, under the stairs. You'll like this because it's a Harry Potter kind of thing. Under the stairs, there's this little cupboard thing. But it had a window, a teller window.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what is that for? That doesn't make sense.
Maybe that was for, kids to be able to play under the stairs and look outside.
Maybe. I don't know if it was some sort of, pantry. You could just put it on the counter and then come back instead of, carrying it around the door. And maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But the house is old. The wood of the floors, it was, Dade pine, and that's been extinct for, actual real Dade pine has been extinct for a long time because we overused it in, the 30s and 40s. So the house was really old. They ended up tearing it down, which is sad, but I understand why. There's a family tragedy there. I get it. It did have that look at what you would see in Sleepy Hollow and stuff, that Victorian era look. And it was by no means a small house for that time period. I think there was 4 bedrooms.
Oh shit.
The weird thing was I only saw one bathroom. So that was like, I guess back then though, that wasn't necessarily
that
a weird
was
thing.
normal.
Yeah, and then the one, I always called it a plantation house. I guess it would be the.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird because there
Did
was
it have
certain,
the wraparound?
No, when you walk in to the front of the house, you had a main staircase, and then 2 smaller staircases going up, and then it had a wraparound.
Oh.
Yeah, the second story had like a wraparound
That's
thing that led up. Like, pretty much, this is weird. Playing Resident Evil 7, the house is somewhat similar to the house of Resident Evil 7. Like, you go up, there's that staircase, and, it was, actually, no, more like 1 then, I guess. But it wasn't like that massive. It wasn't like a massive house, but it was big for that time period. Like, it would have had to have been like a well-off family.
Yeah.
But it had a staircase into the kitchen. But the weird thing is it didn't have a handle. Like, there was no guardrail.
Yeah, guardrail.
There was no spot in the floor that would have been drilled for
Yeah.
that. So I know it's old enough to where they were like, well, we don't need that for stairs. And that to me looked like a servant's staircase.
Yeah,
Because it was
probably.
small into the back of the house that led into the
Yeah.
kitchen. So I don't know how we got on the subject of this house.
Because I brought it up. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the haunted places.
Yeah.
The magazine. Go check the magazine out. You get it at Barnes & Noble.
Sorry, we
Yeah, well, we do that sometimes.
derailed.
But we didn't go off too
You'll
bad.
probably do that more with me.
So, what did you want to talk about tonight? We were talking about Sleepy Hollow a little bit. I think we pretty much covered.
Sleepy Hollow, witchcraft. Sleepy Hollow, a little bit of witchcraft.
Well, yeah, but what do you want to talk about first? Because we did the.
I have yet to
we
see.
did the Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, we might as well do Sleepy Hollow.
We already
Well, we
did
pretty
that.
much
We already
did
did
Sleepy
the
Hollow. There's not
Sleepy
much on it other than
Yeah.
So-
that's-
Next,
Okay, I
would
didn't
say
see the movie.
No, not the movie.
which movie?
Any of them.
Even the animated one?
No.
Oh wow!
Oh man.
The animated movie was a short film that came, and it came usually packaged in a set on VHS. It was
What?
that, and then
What movie
Mr.
did it
Toad's
come
Wild
with?
Ride. I think was the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a Disney movie.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it's a Disney movie. I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
Is there some?
Yeah, but it
is
should
there
be a movie in
female
itself.
that
Well, no,
wanders
it's not.
through the orchard?
Not
in
the
it?
cartoon.
I'm almost certain.
There's also a TV. No, it's not a full length. It's not full length.
No?
It's about 30-40 minutes long. It was just a special. It was a TV special for Disney, just like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It was pretty much Disney Presents. Like back in the day, on Sunday nights, they'd have this show every couple months or so called Walt Disney Presents or Disney Presents, and you'd watch these like cartoons and specials, and then he would talk about things going on in the park. Like let me introduce you to Epcot, and that's what that was. It was a cool Sunday night special or Saturday night special for families to get together and watch. And that was one of the ones I think was on there, along with Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. They're not full length features. They're about 30 to 45 minutes apiece. Actually, I mean, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride might not even be that long either. So that could have just been a special add-on to Sleepy Hollow. There's a TV series which is really weird, which is based.
Yeah, that was a great series.
It's just weird because it's loosely based on the Tim Burton film. That's loosely based on the story because Ichabod Crane was not a constable. He was not a police officer. He was this.
He wasn't.
And apparently, he's
he
supposedly a
wealthy?
real person, huh?
Wasn't he just wealthy?
No, he wasn't
No.
even wealthy. He was this poor school
No, he was
school
a,
teacher.
He was a
Yeah,
school
I
teacher,
get to see
military
it.
fighter.
Huh?
I'm talking about the TV show.
No, not the TV
Oh.
show. He was a police officer in the TV show. He was a constable. Just like in the movie. He was a detective of that time period.
Oh yeah.
That's why he was working with the police when he came to the future, the present. It was a weird show, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, and so the Johnny Depp movie with that Tim Burton, I liked it. I thought it was good. It's not accurate to the story at all. But
Oh, what the one where he's like a vampire? In
no, he's not a
modern day?
vampire. No, that's
No,
that's the remake of what we were talking about earlier.
something.
Ah, no! What are you doing? Ah,
Sorry, I thought that's what you
Yeah.
were talking about.
it's an old soap opera.
An old
What
soap
is that?
opera.
Yeah, about vampires. Barnabas Collins.
Diary something?
No, it's not even diary something.
It's a soap opera with
Yeah.
vampires.
Yeah, but it's old. And then Tim Burton made a movie about it that stars Johnny Depp that's nothing like the show.
Oh, Dark Shadows?
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you,
Dark
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
So Dark Shadows. No, it wasn't a good
I
movie.
liked it.
I liked it, but Mary hated that. It's
Why?
Because it's totally. Oh, I'm sorry. I said the F word there. I don't usually cuss on this show. It's nothing like the series. Like,
Oh,
not even
no,
close.
there's only one.
Johnny Depp's nothing like Barnabas Collins. Like, Barnabas Collins is not a good guy at all. He's a
real
jerk.
dick.
Very manipulative, and Johnny Depp played him like a hero. But yeah, some of the Sleepy Hollow, some of the sets from that show, I guess, are in Sleepy Hollow as well, which is kind of cool. But the story for Ichabod Crane was he was a school teacher that came. He fell in love with Katrina Von Tassel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's like this tall, wiry, skinny school teacher. He's just like a
Always
humble.
had a ponytail, kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was a very supposedly a cowardice person. And he was dared by the other lover, well, not lover, but the other person trying to be with Katrina to go out to the, see the Headless Horseman and told him the story during a Halloween party that the Von Tassels would have every year. Huge Halloween party. Which is the one they mimic every year at that mansion.
Oh my god, I want to go.
So he went out there and they played a prank on him, basically, and then after that, the real thing happened and he got
turned
chased.
into something.
Well, he didn't turn into anything. He was
No, it turned into something real.
Well, it was already real, but nobody believed it, but Ichabod came across it.
Oh.
But and then the Tim Burton movie, Ichabod is a New York constable sent to investigate a bunch of murders, and he's a very skeptic person. He doesn't believe in the paranormal, but everybody's like, "Oh, it's the Headless Horseman." He's like, "It's not possible. It's not real." And then he finds out it's Christopher Walken. I'm not lying. It's Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken plays the Headless Horseman. Has no line in the movie at all. Not one line in the movie that I can remember. He always just has this growling sound. And he's the Headless Hessian. That's what he was. He was a Hessian.
Hessian?
Yes.
Headless Hessian.
Sounds so racist.
A Hessian. It's not. How's that a racist term?
No, it sounds like
a Hessian.
I wanna Google
Hessian
that.
was a German mercenary soldier in Revolutionary War that Britain had hired to come take out the American soldiers. They were the people basically that George Washington slaughtered that night when he crossed the Delaware.
Oh, lovely. It's great.
It's history.
I look up
Completely
Hessian and
irrelevant.
it brings up something about
I was going to say...
a Manchu Nyohuru clan.
No,
Is that how you spell
What about
Hessian?
What about Naruto?
No, it's Hessian.
Oh, kind of like what we did with the Nazi scientists.
We're not getting into political
Oh.
stuff. I'm just saying.
I know.
They were. I
Hessians
believe,
were German soldiers who served as auxiliaries to British Army during the American Revolutionary War.
why do I know this stuff?
Awesome.
That's scary. Boom. Yeah. So the Headless Horseman was supposedly one of them who got his head clean knocked off with a cannonball.
Did his garbs look like that?
Yes, sort of. They were similar. Yep, similar, but more. They made it look more leathery. Because
Well, they have to make it.
Well, it's Tim Burton.
American.
Everything.
Well,
No, it's Tim Burton. Everything's got to be leather. It's like, hey, what should we do with this sweater, Mr. Burton? Make it look like leather. Should we just give him a leather jacket? No.
Don't
It
talk
must look
shit
like a
about
leather.
Tim Burton.
No, I love Tim Burton. I just wish he'd make more movies that are actually his ideas. Because his remakes and all that stuff that he does is just awful. He needs to stop.
You didn't like the Alice in Wonderland remakes again?
They were okay. They weren't like the greatest thing. I like it. Like Big Fish. Big Fish was such an amazing movie. But we're going off here. So Sleepy Hollow, such an amazing movie to me. But he changes the storyline a lot. So, Sleepy Hollow. Anything else on Sleepy Hollow that anybody else can come up with other than what I found out is apparently they have hay rides, they have champagne cocktail night.
I don't know that much about it.
I know.
There's not much on it. I mean, that's the thing.
I'll Google it. But...
I know that.
Google.
They have. What is it called? Pub crawl. Like they have different pub crawls over there and stuff.
The Sleepy Hollow.
Well, that's like
it's a small village. They don't really have like a lot there.
Well, they set up like different like tents and stuff.
Well, they do. Yeah, they have some. That's one of their Halloween things. That's the champagne thing I'm talking about. The champagne cocktail night, where like you and the adults, while the kids are off learning like different scary stories in groups, you're off doing your thing, drinking in Sleepy Hollow.
You said Ichabod Crane was sent to Sleepy Hollow to investigate the decapitations of 3 people, right?
In the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the book, he was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how they mix up
how lovely it is that people change stuff.
Well, that was Tim Burton. But once again, I wasn't mad about that because Ichabod Crane being a coward is okay, but you can't use that in a full-length live-action movie. Mm-hmm. Your hero does not look good as a coward unless he becomes like... Which Johnny Depp was kind of cowardice, actually. Because he didn't deal with like live things killing things. He just investigated murders. He was...
Yeah, but that is a great story, though.
It was a
pretty good story.
Is
that what?
Yes.
That is not from the movie. That's
That's the old movie.
There's an older live-action movie? I did not know that. 1980.
With,
I've got to go find it. Is
Mr.
that Jeff Goldblum?
That's Jeff Goldblum. I thought that was him. I was
Jeff
like, is that
Goldblum
him?
is Ichabod Crane. I've got to go watch this movie. This has become like a Halloween special now.
IMDb gives it a 6.4.
That's okay. Jeff Goldblum movies are always bad. It's fine. We know this.
But 96% liked this movie. It's based off of the book too, because it says a school teacher instead of just Ichabod.
I might have seen that then. I did. I'll have to go back and watch it. Okay,
it came out October 31st, 1980.
That's cool. It was probably a made-for-TV special then.
Of course, I would have assumed.
Speaking of Halloween movies, favorite Halloween movie. We're gonna do this real quick because it kind of ties into the paranormal.
Oh.
Favorite Halloween movie. Since we're talking about Sleepy Hollow.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Halloween Town.
I love
The grandma's dead. That makes me
I know.
sad.
Stop. You're gonna make me tear
Aw.
up.
You know that was Carrie Fisher's mom?
Yes.
She died.
Yeah, she died, then Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah.
I'm really sad
sad.
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I
life
grew
goes-
up on that.
Life goes on.
Oh, and Hocus Pocus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus is one of my top favorites. What's yours?
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Ghostbusters.
Speaking
but
of-
that
speaking
doesn't
of-
count.
Rebar, the club we were talking about.
Yes.
Every year used to do a live action like.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, and it was the cross dressing witches.
Yeah, I think he's.
So spot. Yeah, but
I think
we
we talked about it before.
yeah. So spot on though. It was crazy.
I actually wanted to be.
I was in that play in high school.
I was thinking for this Halloween, I wanted to be. I can't remember which sister it was, but it wasn't the main one. It wasn't the blonde one. It was.
Oh, it was
another
Catherine
one.
Najimi's character.
Yeah, I can't.
The
remember
one that
her
rode
name.
the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her.
Bear with us. This is getting into paranormal. We're talking about witches now. There's a reason for it.
Not Winnie.
Yeah, I think.
No, Winnie was
Hold
the
on.
one in the green.
Winnie was the main one.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
Which is Bette Midler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The blonde was Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes,
I think
Sarah
Catherine.
Jessica Parker.
You know who else she played?
That was Sarah.
Little side.
Who's Sarah Jessica Parker?
No.
Not Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh.
Catherine Najimy. The one you're talking about. You know who else she played? Who she's famous for? And people don't even realize.
What?
She's Peggy Hill from King of the Hill.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know
Okay,
a lot of
so-
random stuff.
There's Winifred Sanders, which is Betty Midler.
Yeah.
There's Sarah.
Bet. Don't ever let her ever hear you say Betty Midler.
Bet. Sorry.
She will probably be really angry.
And then there's Sarah, who is Sarah Jessica Parker, and then there's Mary.
Oh, Mary. Yeah, that's her name.
Sarah, we get it. You're not very bright. Just look. Your name's Sarah. Your name's.
What a lovely
Please.
spider. Yeah,
She was so good in that. She was one of my first crush.
Was I
Actually,
the only one that
He was
thought
also in
that,
Sex and the City,
that
too.
the zombie guy was kind of cute?
you know who that is, right?
Is it that one?
I forgot his
Isn't
name.
that him?
I'm not good with
No.
names.
Which one is he?
The one that when he was a zombie, he
Shut
was
up.
played by Douglas
You
Jones.
buck-toothed firefly from hell.
Why
He's
didn't he
he's
do
done a lot of like character work where he moves. Like if you've ever seen Hellboy, he plays Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
He does the
I
weird
love
movements.
Hellboy.
Have you
is
ever
that
seen-
considered
He
Halloween
also
too?
played in Labyrinth,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I would think.
my God,
Not
don't
the
bring
Labyrinth.
that
He was
up.
in Pan's Labyrinth.
Or Pan's Labyrinth.
He played the Fawn, which is Pan basically,
Sorry.
Yeah.
and then he played the blind guy with the weird
With the
hands,
hand
the
eyeballs.
eyeballs.
The aquatic guy
No. You're
He
thinking
played the
Hellboy.
aquatic guy in that new
Yeah.
movie
in
Oh.
Hellboy, right?
in Hellboy, but he also plays another
And the
aquatic.
other one,
The Sound of Water or whatever it is, the one that just
no,
wrote
isn't
Water.
it
The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water.
Yeah, he played.
Yeah, I watched that a little
The
bit.
Water of Shape.
To me, I was just like, this is just this is a prequel to Abe Sapien's story. This is
Which leads us into witchcraft.
Witches.
yeah. I mean, like, so wait, I didn't finish on Sleepy Hollow. Let me
Oh.
just not
Oh,
much
you
on
wanna
Sleepy
keep-
Hollow as far as paranormal, other than the stuff that Washington Irving created, the stuff with Dark Shadows. Other than that, apparently Halloween there seems like a blast, but
You
not
need to go over here.
overdone, but like a real cool blast. Like if you like that old rustic area type thing, and you like, I'm sure the color schemes around this time of the year are just gorgeous.
Orange, red, yellow,
Just yeah,
burgundy.
and then come on, man, hay rides with champagne cocktails and going with old style lanterns through cemeteries at night.
You know
That
what I've
sounds amazing.
always wanted to
Can't-
do
can't
on
beat
a
that.
Halloween night?
What?
Rent out like a huge mansion, and then just have like a murder mystery party,
Oh, yeah.
like a legit murder
You
mystery.
could rent out the Leech Mansion, but it's expensive.
That's what I want to do.
That's like expensive. We'd have to be like,
There was actually a customer that came in today that was looking for a murder mystery board game. There are none. I couldn't think of any
Clue.
yeah.
other than Clue. She's
Because
like, I
that's
don't
you
want
only need Clue. Clue's amazing.
She's like, I don't want Clue. It's
We didn't
too-
finish the Halloween movies. You said Hocus Pocus. You said
Sorry,
Night Before
Hocus
Christmas.
Pocus. I said Halloween Town.
You said Halloween. That's
Halloween
fine.
Halloween Town. Oh,
That's fine.
Nightmare Before Christmas, of course. Come on.
I mean, Hocus Pocus is up there. There's one I always had when I was a kid, though, that I just loved a lot.
Oh,
Halloween
The
ones.
Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
It's. I guess you would be able to call it a Halloween movie, kinda.
Halloween? No.
It's a Disney movie called The Black Cauldron.
Oh,
Yeah.
Would that be considered?
It was more like medieval times.
Yeah, that's
type
more
stuff.
medieval.
What about?
It's
It,
well,
would-
it's
it would
witches.
still be.
It's-
It's still pretty good though.
I mean, you got even bed knobs and broomsticks. Too.
Ah.
Yes.
Some
Yes!
good old movies.
Oh my
Hey,
God, I love
I
you.
did it too, but language we got.
Ow.
This show's serious. And, so we're gonna move on to the next subject because Sleepy Hollow was pretty much.
You don't have any other Halloween movies?
any other Hollow? I've got plenty, but I don't have this isn't the time or place to talk about a lot of them.
Chucky, Pinhead.
Yeah, but I'm not okay. We're not. We're supposed to be talking about paranormal stuff, not
witches.
We've derailed.
Witchcraft because we talked about Hocus Pocus. Witches.
Yes.
What did you gather on witches there, Christian?
I didn't get a whole lot.
I didn't get a whole lot on the witches. Mainly more on Salem.
Yeah, Salem.
Well, I know that witchcraft or witchery broadly means the practice of and belief in magical skills and abilities exercised by sorority practitioners and groups.
And a lot of times is actually drawn into two separate religions that I know of.
Or
and the branches of Wiccan and Pagan.
Yeah.
It branches off also because there's a lot of similar styles and uses in voodoo and hoodoo.
Mm-hmm.
Different spells and things like that. And I'm wondering, now, historically, would have, not what came first, per se, because, Wiccan and paganism's been around longer than Christianity and lots of other religions.
Mm-hmm.
But, voodoo and hoodoo, I wonder if that was when, you had, the French soldiers, Haiti and stuff like that, going and then, marrying and having kids with...
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really find too much information about the origins of hoodoo or voodoo. Surprisingly.
I just know that it mainly comes from, I believe, Haiti.
Yeah.
Haitians. And, some of the Caribbean islands out there.
Jamaica.
Yeah, because then when you get into Mexico, it becomes Santeria.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very similar stuff. This one's more religious than... I guess voodoo has its own religious beliefs now, too. But mainly witchcraft was... healing spells using nature and stuff like that. And then it formed into its own thing and became bigger, and more, over time, more elaborate.
So why did it get the bad and...
Well, back then, you had to remember that at the time, even if you weren't, a crazy bad witch or warlock, you would be targeted by Christian churches
that's
because
right,
the Crusades were going on.
Mainly the Catholic Church.
Yes, well, Catholic, yeah.
Well, they see it as being impure.
Yeah, it was against their religious beliefs, so you were
which led to the first Crusades.
Yeah, because it was the Puritans, I believe, that started the Salem witch trials. So
Yes.
Puritans.
Once again, Puritans comes from the form of pure for your religious standpoint. You believed in pure Christianity.
Especially when you like to shove it down other people's throats.
We're not getting no political stuff.
No political.
But at that point, that's basically what happened. A bunch of people came in this ancient religion that you guys believe in? Oh, our God says that's wrong, so you got to stop.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, though, and this is how this started. Historically, when you get into things, the Bible was supposedly created by Constantine, a Roman emperor, who converted people from paganism, so there wouldn't be a lot of death and war within Rome over Christianity. So he converted them to Christianity to stop that. And the Bible was created by him and other people to, kind of hide pagan and Wiccan, cultural beliefs.
Yeah, mask it.
Easter and then Christmas.
Yeah.
Both come from those types of holidays. So, there's a lot of weird stuff there. But yes, witches, anybody that was pagan or Wiccan that at that time didn't, not necessarily Wiccan, but more pagan, that didn't convert to a religion were considered blasphemous or, I forget what the actual term is. Sycophant?
Sinners.
Well, besides that, there's an actual term for not believing in a religion.
Not a heathen.
Heathen's one of them.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. They were insults.
Do you think they eat their cereal out of cups too?
Jesus. No, I don't believe they eat their cereal out of cups. I think that's only you.
I have no idea what you just said.
Eating cereal out of cups. He's a heathen for it.
Yeah. There's actually, to follow up with the Bible, what you said, the actual verse is from Exodus chapter 22, verse 18. It says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live."
Yeah, it's basically condemning them to death.
Yeah.
Is it that one?
Which. Yeah.
No, I have. No, that is not what I'm.
And actually,
Proselytism?
what's even more funny is
it's a more common word. I've been called it in my lifetime.
Early Christians were relatively tolerant of paganism and witchcraft
because a lot of them were forced into converting.
Yeah, and as the Roman Catholic Church began to consolidate more and more power, heretics.
There we go. That was it. Heretics.
Heretics. They were viewed as
You're
enemies.
a heretic.
Review his enemies. By 1231, the Inquisition was created to punish heresy, and attributes towards witches became very violent and very.
That's debatable too, though. You have to like
they went on
debatable because you're talking about. You're also talking about a time. You're also talking about a time period when like the Goths, and I don't mean like. I like bats.
Oh yeah,
like me from high school. Like it's not like that. I mean, like the actual, like the Visigoths and stuff, like barbaric tribes.
Yeah,
did not believe in Christianity. Had no reason to. Actually, followed under more like like Odinism. I'm sure was like thrown under the bus too. You had different religions they didn't believe in, so those are going to get tossed in as witches and stuff too in history because they were heathens, they were heretics. That's why they were slaughtered out. That's why we had so many wars with other tribes, like the Germanic tribes and like the like the barbarians and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Oh my God! I mean, that's why that happened.
Yeah,
it's because of that, which also ties in. And I said no politics, but at this time, this is political too because you got to remember who ran the government back then. Yeah, it was the king, but you got to remember who was usually running the king. And that was the Pope. The Pope said, the Pope got. I mean, that was kind of how it was. He was the next closest thing to God.
The king formed his own.
That was because he couldn't. That was because he couldn't
have more wives.
No, well, he couldn't. It's not that he couldn't have more wives, but the Pope was like, you can't just keep killing and divorcing your wives.
That's basically.
He's like, well, I'm going to make my own religion, and it's now the Church of England. And then he started that, and King Henry had his way, and then yeah.
Didn't he behead half of his wives?
I don't know if that's actually true. I know he beheaded a few of them.
Yep. Oh, you can't produce a boy, you die.
Exactly. She couldn't produce an heir.
You get beheaded. You get beheaded. Right. Everybody gets beheaded.
Yeah, it was the Oprah Winfrey of beheadings.
Yeah, I was supposed to say that.
The Oprah Winfrey of beheadings. I mean...
It's alright. It's beepable.
Sorry.
We don't use the beep at all, but...
I'm sorry!
I just cut it off. I just cut it off instead of beeping. It's easier just to cut.
Beep, beep, lettuce.
So, I mean, but how many... Because you came across this... How many people actually died before we get into the Salem... How many people overall, the Europeans, including Joan of Arc,
yes,
who was also burned at the stake for being a heretic and a witch? Why? Because she supposedly could talk to God because she was a woman. That's a no-no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, supposedly most witches are women.
Well, yeah.
Supposedly.
Well, because warlocks are males.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. But in the 1490s, 150,000 were established.
Established?
Established as being killed. Oh. Connected to witchcraft.
Oh, established as witches.
Yeah.
I was like, established? What did they make, small businesses? Like, this is Witch Way? $5 wands. $5 foot
and
wands.
That estimation was about over 150 years.
Yeah, and once again, with the other tribes that were considered heretics and blasphemers, that it's, with the Crusades alone... It's got to be somewhere in the millions.
Probably.
And a lot of them would be considered witches and stuff, especially some of the older tribes. Like Romania, I know, which is funny because we're getting into another term with that. It's one of my favorite history things that I know about a little bit. And, but witches, man, that just over in Europe is we're killing it, literally. And it's horrible that happened. But it's a real thing in history. Even if witches aren't real, cast spells. People believe that they were. People believe witches caused the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Then they killed the cats because they're like, oh, it's the cats. It turned out to be the rats.
Yeah, it was the rats.
I don't know. Maybe it's the basically the Death Eaters.
And it also oh, sorry, no.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Didn't the rats?
I was gonna say the trials are also proof that people fear the unknown, and when you have so many people that fear what they don't understand,
causes utter chaos.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. That's like you and me. Let's say this: a plane. We're in a plane going over South America or the Brazilian area with the rainforests and the just dense jungle, but we don't even know most of the history in there. We've had people go in and explore and never came out. Excuse me. And we don't know where they went or what happened to them. They're still in there somewhere, just not alive.
Yeah, I was going to say, where they died.
So what happens if we were in a plane and it crashed, and with parachutes, we ended up in this, tribe with our clothes.
Now, this is in the Amazon, right?
I'm saying like the Amazon
Oh.
and like the Brazilian rainforest.
Rainforest.
Dude, it's so dense down there. We have no idea. You can't just like walk through and be like, "Oh, I know how to do this because I can see the stars." There's no way. You look
No,
up,
you can't
just
see
green.
the
There's no way to
Canadians.
tell the direction.
It's almost like you could put it in the same category as the Bermuda Triangle, except
Except we know why you can't find your way out of this. Like
I
you can
wanna
use a
talk about
compass,
the
but that
Bermuda
doesn't mean you're going to find
Triangle.
it. Like, you could walk. You can be like, "Oh, well, if I go south or east, I'll eventually hit a river."
yeah, because it's so dense.
And that's fine, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
You can keep traveling. There's so many things that we don't know, even animals. But
Yeah,
what
I
I'm,
was gonna say, even if you try to find a river, you'll probably get
dude,
messed
if
up
you go
before
if
you get to it.
if you use the restroom in water in
Oh,
certain
I
parts of
don't
that,
imagine.
there's certain things that happen to you
Yep.
Yeah.
with parasites. We're not going
Yeah.
to go into.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you got to look at it this way. This is how this works with certain Christian beliefs and other religions that have like not understanding things have been a thing. So like if we had crash landed in a plane in the jungle, right, found this tribe with our clothes and our technology, and they had never seen that before, what do you think they're going to do?
Oh.
They're gonna do one or
think
two
we're
things.
Aliens. number one.
Well,
You're
yeah, they're going to think
intruders,
of one or two
basically.
things. We're either gods or aliens, or
They're
gonna kill
we're
us.
evil magic using,
Witches.
bringers of death.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just, it's always been like that. It's always gonna be like that. There's tribes that have no idea we even exist, man. They see a plane and they're like Sky Dragon. I'm not even
No,
making
yeah.
a joke about that.
Yeah,
That's
there's
exactly
there
what
was
that is.
I forget the name of the tribe, but they were like very, very hostile towards foreigners.
Oh yeah,
Really?
there's
I
tribes.
think
There's people
every tribe is hostile.
There's a lot of them that you can go and that like they'll invite you in and they'll treat you like family. Like if you watch like Anthony Bourdain shows and also that guy from River Monsters,
Yeah.
like they go to like different locations and he'll go try food.
Jeremy Wade.
There's times where like Anthony Bourdain has gone to like tribes, like just going down a river and like sees these tribes. And they invite him in. He has dinner with them. He tries their cuisine. Like they have like a huge party in his honor and stuff, and then he just goes off. They don't even know who he is. They're just like, it's a visitor. Treat him like a
Aw.
There's really good people, but there's
Only
also
there
people
were
that don't.
people like that in
But
this world.
those but those people have seen our technology.
Yeah.
They don't use our technology, but they
We
know what
can't,
we are,
yeah.
who we are. They just don't they don't see it as a threat. I'm talking about like the tribes in like the most densest, darkest parts of the jungle.
That have never left.
Yeah, that have never left, have never seen anything other than maybe their ancestors have seen the shiny gold robot men. Well, not robots, but shiny gold men made of metal, which would have been the conquistadors. Traveling down there to find, the golden cities and stuff like that.
You ever heard of the Amazonians?
No.
No. Supposedly the Amazonians were a tribe of female warriors.
You've never heard of the Amazonians?
Oh.
Amazons.
Yeah, I know them as the Amazons, not the Amazonians.
Or, well,
I was thinking
Amazons. I don't know why I put the Zonians in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
where
yeah.
us women captured.
I was thinking of an
They're
actual-
mostly women.
Which is weird though, because if that's the case, then why are they not in the Amazon? Because Wonder Woman's in Greek, like she's in Greece, right? She's an Amazon.
I don't
She's
even
on
know the mythology of
the
that.
Parthenon. She's on an island.
Yes, but it's near Greece.
Yes.
It follows
Well,
Greece. It
technically
follows
it's in
Greece
the-
heritage,
Technically, it's in the
wonderful
middle
woman.
of the Atlantic Ocean,
but it
most
follows
things
Greece
are in-
heritage.
Yes.
Amazonian should be like in the Amazon River somewhere. Like
Yes.
they look at that guy looks weird. Throw an axe at him. Like that's
What?
And
Dude, they
Throw
do-
an axe at him.
In Greek mythology, the Amazons were a tribe of women warriors related to.
Related to.
I can't even say that.
the Scythians,
Scythians?
the Scythians, and the Scythians. The Sarmatians.
I have no idea who they are.
Those are other probably like
Isn't it?
Greek,
But it is Greek.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. Where did they come up with the term Amazon or Amazonian?
Mentions that Amazons were the daughters of Ares and Harmonia. They were brutal and aggressive, and their main concern in life was war.
Harmonia or her?
Harmonia.
Harmonia.
Okay, not Hermione.
It's Levi.
Wingardium
It's
Leviosa.
No, that would be really funny. Like you did what now? And now there's Amazons because of you.
Expel the armies.
I'm trying to figure out why they call them the Amazons.
Because they were women.
Place them on the bank.
That doesn't
of
make-
the what?
I don't know. Well, maybe because.
But is that and then maybe historically is that why whoever discovered the Amazon River, maybe that's why they named it the Amazon River because it was a
Probably.
hidden location that they'd never seen.
That makes
So maybe
sense.
that's the Amazon.
And
What
there
if
might
they were
even be a tribe called the Amazonians.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
before even the Amazons that we know of, there were Amazons of Libya.
Interesting.
The
Oh.
Amazons started from Libya, passed through Egypt and Syria, and stopped at the Cassius and Aeolus,
They were wanderers.
near which they founded several cities. Later, he says they
Vagabonds.
established
They were vagos.
Mytilene, a little
They
way
actually
beyond.
sound. They actually sound very close to Romanian, as far as or like the gypsies of Romania, where they travel, and then that's the only. They don't have a home, basically.
Yeah, vagabond.
Yeah, basically, yeah, a vagabond or a hermit or
Vagabond.
or a gypsy.
Supposedly, one of the queens, Penthesilea,
Huh?
who participated in the Trojan War, and her sister Hippolyta, whose magical girdle gave to her by her father Ares, was the object of one of the labors of Hercules.
Hercules?
No, that's not Hercules.
Hercules.
Heracles?
Heracles.
Heracles. Is that how you say that?
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's Hippolyta.
I thought you said that with a Spanish
Hippolyta.
accent.
No, it's like Hippolyta. I don't mean it like.
It just sounds Spanish.
And then it's Heracles.
Hippolyta.
It's Heracles, Diodorus. I don't. Queen. I thought it was Queen Myrna, but it's felt like Marina or Marina.
Mind you, that's Wikipedia. I don't know how notable it is.
Oh, see now they're called the Amazons because they were warriors in Amazon.
I
No,
What?
it's like a location. It's Amazon.
And where Amazono
Or that's the-
matches?
Or that's the type of. We're butchering this, and I apologize.
Sorry.
That might just be the martial art that they knew. I know that
Maybe.
sounds weird because
Are you
people think
clicking?
martial arts is
Okay,
just
okay.
Asian, but martial arts are everywhere.
Yeah. Different
Especially
cultures.
Israeli Krav Maga. Oh, want to learn that.
There's a
Amazon
school
battle?
Benson up here.
That's not.
So that means Amazon battle?
It's what?
That's not a. That's they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, so it means Amazon battle.
But where do they get Amazon from?
I don't know. That makes you wonder. Like, did the Amazonians travel over
Hold on.
somehow to like?
I want to Google why they're called Amazons.
Okay, we're getting off topic.
Sorry. Okay, never
This
mind.
isn't about witches. Well,
Okay,
I mean, I guess
sorry.
it would be because if you think about it, if Amazonians showed up, be like, "You're a tribe of women. You don't believe in God.
You're a witch.
Yeah, you
but they
don't
would've-
believe in
They
men.
would have either captured you or killed you by that point.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure they.
No, they would
wouldn't.
have. That was their whole thing.
But-
they,
okay, so
they
but
either
basically what-
captured men that they found like
No,
worthy
I'm saying
of
if
having
they
kids
walked
with.
if they walked into like Europe, if they walked into say England in the 1400s or the 1200s, actually, it would be like
Or even the 1400s. too.
you're women that don't have men, but you
It's like,
somehow
what's
have
wrong here?
kids.
What's wrong here?
You're a witch. Like that would be they would.
Yeah,
They
but
gotten
then they
labeled
would have been
witches.
like, "Oh, we're gonna kill you."
But what I'm saying, and what this got to, and like,
Yeah.
it's just the people in the Amazon jungles. There's certain tribes that are still there that have no. Like, there's reports of people flying airplanes and
Yeah,
stuff.
no, flying
That-
drones. I've
Well,
heard of drones.
Well, I've
where
heard
they
like
fly over and
no,
they
I've
found
heard
a-
like low flying airplanes that like go over
That
and
have
like have
seen.
spears get thrown at them and stuff
Oh,
because they're
really?
like
Yeah.
they don't know what it is. They're just like what the.
That was the island I was talking about. I couldn't remember the name of it. They actually murdered 2 fishermen.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And do you
very
still have
hostile.
cannibals? Crazy, but you still have cannibals, which would also be labeled as witches if this was the 12 to 1400s.
Yeah, well, they maybe
Or our
don't.
other topic,
they maybe
too.
can't. They can't
Or
kill
other
anything.
topic, yes, I guess that would fall into that too.
What
Because
other
there's
topic?
the last topic we haven't gotten to. We got to do Salem real quick. So after Europe,
Oh,
after
Wait,
after
you talking
the
about vampires?
after the witch
you
after
ruined it.
after the witch death European tour. Yeah, I just made it a metal band world
Death.
tour there. They came overseas,
Yeah, and then
I got
they
you the chopper.
and then over here they're like, oh, hey.
they became a part of a colony, right?
That woman's a witch. No, she's not. She's my wife. She might seem mad and mean sometimes, but she's not a witch.
Well, didn't most of the people that got proclaimed as witches, weren't they like younger, like kids?
No.
No.
At first they were.
Yeah.
At first they were. There was a group of girls that basically got caught doing some dope shit. I did it again. Some messed up stuff.
See, don't get mad at me. I'm not the only one.
No, I do that because usually I'm not used to like this.
You're not used
we
to
haven't-
having a filter.
Well, I am on this show. I don't know why tonight's different. I think it's more of like I'm getting towards my favorite time of the year, so I'm more excitable.
Well, yeah, Halloween's awesome.
So basically, these girls, I guess, were having fits and, weird. They were doing stuff. They were basically trying to do, from what I understood, was trying to do, like, love. They were trying to, like, learn love potions or something from
from Tituba?
Yeah.
Tituba?
Are you talking about, what's her, Betty?
I'm not sure the names. I just
Betty
know.
Paris and Abigail Williams.
Abigail Williams was the first
and then
one to accuse.
There's their friend, who was Ann Putnam.
Who was executed by hanging.
Who?
Ann Putnam.
Oh, I thought you meant Abigail. I was like, what's she?
Abigail was too.
Was she?
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't know what happened to them. I just remember.
I think Abigail was the first to be hanged.
Yeah.
I think that's why she was so significant. That's why I know that name.
Yeah. She was.
I'm surprised you don't know about the
But the first recorded witch trials.
this, but
the first
slave that taught them that stuff.
I knew about her. I just didn't know her name.
You didn't know her name? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because they supposedly got caught or something dancing naked in the woods, and that's what started the whole, why are you guys doing this? Like, that's not normal. Why are you doing it? So they blamed her and like,
Oh, I didn't find anything about dancing naked in the woods. I
Well,
just knew that it said that Tituba
in certain stories, like I said, in certain stories, like The Crucible, that movie, I believe they get caught in that movie doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other fictitious, like,
Margaret
similarities.
Jones was the first accused.
Well, she was the first accused, but
witchcraft. People actually believe that her touch caused deafness and nausea. She was actually hanged, the first to be hanged in 1648. But the first recorded trials were
John Proctor and his wife.
Yeah.
The first 1692.
In 1690, yes, it's
Which is when it started.
Yes,
yeah,
and it only lasted a year.
From 1692 to 1693.
Wow, aren't we so lucky?
And
Only
it was
a
in
year.
the winter and the spring, also.
the first recorded
Which would
witch
explain
trials.
Which would explain the ergot of rye thing, because they would have kept things over for the winter, and it would have rotted.
Yeah.
And so ergot of rye might have played a thing in the hallucinations part, which would explain like the white-haired guy, and like I know the servant had seen that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of because there's also stories of the girls hallucinating and seeing things, and like when they have fits, doing, like I said, like a kind of a seizure thing.
Yeah, they supposedly like contorted themselves, which was like unhumanly possible.
Yeah, but if you're tripping out on something,
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever. I hate to say this, but have you ever seen like those videos of people on like bath salts and stuff?
Yeah, no,
they do that. Like they look possessed.
Crazy,
like,
yeah.
Or look at the people that had like actual medical, not anomalies, but like actual medical things wrong with them, or have like a bloody nose or severe nausea or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's not natural. You need to be healthy all the time."
Well, it's okay because that would have fallen into the Parisian or the puritanical life where like, oh, if God gave you, why would God give you a nosebleed? That must be the devil. Like,
you mean the Puritans?
That's insane.
Yeah, the Puritan or puritanical,
or like you have a cough, we must blame it on witchcraft. Oh, we don't understand why you cough. Witchcraft. It's got to be witchcraft. Who did it? Who done it?
Yeah.
And supposedly the girls were shouting nonsense, and
for
some reason they said cowering under chairs. And
the
article that I saw,
the girls probably did cower under chairs. But if you're seeing something and don't understand it, especially if you're tripping out on something, your body. Back then, we had no idea how science worked with that kind of stuff. And then if ergot of rye,
they didn't have the knowledge.
Yeah, so if ergot of rye made you trip like say LSD does,
then
I could see where like I would cower to the chair if somebody walked up and looked like they were on fire. Because, like, everything's just, Well,
supposedly also in the documentary me and him were watching, they were talking about how the girls, what was it, they were, like, pinching and, like grabbing them or something. Mm-hmm. And they were having fits.
There were certain people that were involved that were very, very manipulative teenage girls. I think Abigail Williams was 17 when she died, so...
17.
I know,
16
Betty, and it says...
The older ones were more manipulative on things, and because they didn't want to get in trouble...
Betty was 9 when this started. I think Abigail was 12.
I know, but when she died, she was 17. She wasn't hanged, I don't think, unless she did something and got in trouble later on. But
no, I think the reason why she wasn't hung is because
she turned on everybody else.
Yeah, she started pointing fingers at everybody.
But she even turned on the other girls. That's like she's
she turned on Tituba. She turned on her cousin, her friend. They started
now. Okay, so
people.
Tituba or Tituba? I don't know. How
Tituba.
Are you sure that's how it's pronounced?
Tituba.
I don't want to butcher people's names.
It's Tituba.
Tituba.
Yeah, but like Tatuga is the almost same spelling. That's why I'm like, I just don't want to butcher someone's name.
No, it's fine. I'll Google it.
I know she's like. No, I'm saying you're saying it wrong either. I'm just like.
I know, but you just want to be.
We butchered a lot of Greek stuff already, and I feel bad about that. I really do feel bad about that. Especially Mike, if you're listening to this, I apologize. I should have probably asked you beforehand. Because he's Greek. So, okay, she was a slave here from Barbados?
Do you want me to read about her?
If you want, but try not to, like, use the word-for-word article. What?
She was an enslaved, titubating, I don't know what that means, woman owned by Samuel Paris, who's...
really? Wow.
Of Danvers, Massachusetts.
Huh.
Samuel Paris was
She was a South American native and sailed from Barbados to New England with Samuel.
You mean by force of Samuel, most likely. No, I'm like, okay. So, yeah, so from what I gather, I don't know, from where she was coming from, I'd have to say that sounds more like a voodoo belief that she was teaching these...
From South America?
These kids. If there was rum involved, that would be another thing, too, you'd have to look at. But because oddly enough, a lot of practices in voodoo require some sort of ritual with rum.
Alcohol?
Mostly rum, but yeah.
Or some kind of sacrifice.
Because you're supposed to, like, there's certain things, like, if you go meet Marie Laveau, it's 3 X's.
Yep.
If you go meet Marie Laveau, which you can't anymore because everything's, you have to do a tour. She was the high priestess of voodoo in New Orleans. And in the world, I believe, too. Like, she was world-renowned at that point. And oddly enough, people don't know exactly what she looks like. Because, we only have, like, possible paintings from that time period that could be her. There's no actual photographs. Because photography wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But the whole idea was, like, when you go to her gravesite, and I did it when I was in New Orleans, you can't do it anymore, because some dude messed it up by painting the whole mausoleum pink with latex paint.
Wow.
And screwed it up. So they're like, you can't even do the X's anymore. But you go, we went and got a very nice, expensive bottle of, like, rum. And went to her grave, put the X's on it. I did a shot with her.
Put the X's on what?
On her grave. You used to draw 3 X's on her grave. It's for good luck.
With what?
Well, we use a Sharpie. That's pretty much what everybody used.
Oh.
I mean, like, back then you probably would have done it with, like, a piece of charcoal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably would have been smarter for us to do, now that I'm thinking about it. And so we did shots, and we left a shot of rum.
It says voodoo right there. It's hot.
So we did shots of rum with Marie Laveau, basically, and I swear, this is one of the only things I can't explain with my paranormal activities, that I swear because of our ritual, I saw Marie Laveau, like, in the flesh later that night. And it was one of the craziest, weirdest experiences to me.
Had you seen her picture before?
Nope, but when we looked her up afterwards, the paintings that we had seen that are possibly her, very close.
Hmm.
So, and she was standing in a hall or an alleyway that had razor wire above it and a wrought iron fence, and there was an empty store to the right, and then there was a punk rock memorabilia store to the left, or vice versa. There would be no reason for this lady to be standing there. We're walking, I'm talking with my friend. He stops mid-sentence. I bump into him like, what, dude? Why'd you stop? We both look up. She's sitting there.
Did she do anything?
Yeah, she spit on the ground and then kind of walked back into the shadows and disappeared.
Is that good?
I don't know, because some people believe in voodoo, like, the spit thing's not a bad thing. Because, like, you do certain rituals where you spit rum on people, which is kind of weird. Which I'm glad she didn't spit rum on me.
Was she close enough to possibly have done it, or was she far enough away?
If she really wanted to project that rum, she probably could have hit us, but it was really...
Are there other people that have done that have
yes
accounts of, like...
Yes,
like
very
yours?
similar accounts. Of, like, oh yeah, we were at Marie Laveau's grave in the daytime. Later that night, we'd see her in the French Quarter.
Yeah, but was it talking about her spitting on the ground or anything like that?
There's been signs of her spitting on the ground. There's been signs. There's another term. My friend calls it Brigitte Maman, but I can't find that term when I do research. So I don't know if it's like if he's pronouncing it wrong or if it's wrong in general. But if you see her in the form, there's 2 forms you can see her in. One of them's in human form, which is okay. You're fine. Nothing's going to be bad. Nothing's wrong. If you see her with the snakes coming out of her eyes and her hair and like skull face, you're screwed.
Death.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much like Shuck the Black Dog, or what was his name? Black Shuck? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Black Shuck. If you see him in a certain form, you're fine. If you see him in another form, either you or a family member or someone you're close to is going to die. So luckily, we didn't see her that way. So I'm assuming it was a good thing.
So you're still here today because of her.
Yeah. But then, there's other things that happened in New Orleans I wasn't proud of. One of our the people we went with, decided to take actual stone from one of the mausoleums.
Oh, why?
I took it back from him, and I kept it with me in my room, and I basically made a pact with myself and other people. And like, I'm going to go back to New Orleans. I'm going to put it back where it was. One of our other roommates found the stone and felt that he didn't want it in the house because evil. So he chucked it at a wall, and it shattered all over the place. So I never got to return that stone. So I don't know. Maria Laveau, but voodoo okay. So when it came to Tituba? Tituba. I feel so bad about that. She was the first person to be accused by Elizabeth Parris and Abigail Williams. And there's that name Parris again, a guy that pretty much made a fortune off of witchcraft without being a witch. That's pretty messed up. It has been theorized that she told the girls tales of voodoo and practiced it. So that kind of makes sense. Like I said, without like looking that up because I didn't know her name.
Yeah.
I think that was, so it's weird. Voodoo, being another ancient religion / practice by itself, somehow started the Salem witch trials.
So now when it comes to things like voodoo and hoodoo and witchcraft, what makes people really truly believe in that stuff? Regardless of how skeptical you are.
Well, it's not, because what I understand, well, again, it does tie into that. What I understand with voodoo and hoodoo, and somehow I guess it would follow into witchcraft, is that for it to work, the person who's casting it and the person it's being casted upon has to actually believe it exists. You are basically manifesting this belief within your skull so much, within your brain, that it happens.
Becomes something, yeah.
So, like, if you do a good luck, and it kind of works to psychology, though. Like, if you do a good luck spell, and you actually believe, like, I'm going to have good luck, I'm going to have everything's positive. You just think positive,
things be good luck.
you're going to start seeing, just like, I need a love spell to work. If you try your hardest, no matter if it's a good person or bad person, you're going to find love. That's just how that works. You can sit there, I'm going to find the person I love, I'm going to find the person I love. And even if you fail to find the actual person you love, you're going to find someone else and be like...
And you're like, oh, it's my true love.
Exactly. You're going to manifest it so much within yourself.
It's the power of suggestion.
Exactly. And then, once again, fear, like with the black magic and voodoo.
There's also something called the law of attraction.
Well, no, that's not true either. I mean, it is, but it's not also.
Oh. I was like, what is that?
But... So, so basically witchcraft, you kind of have to believe in it. But with the Salem witch trials, somehow everybody in the small location just began to believe in it. And back then it was all because of why? Because of religion.
Well, it was Salem and then the neighboring towns as well.
Well, yeah, but I believe Parrish was the cause of all the neighboring towns having that
was.
problem. Because
he was.
What are we in Americans? Or what are we in the Americans?
Because he used religion.
In North America, what are we?
Capitalists.
Exactly. What do you think he saw there? An opportunity to thrive.
Because at first he didn't make money with his one business, and then he decided to become a pastor.
Yeah, and thought
then he became the witch hunter.
Yep.
So, it's pretty messed up. Salem witch trials are pretty much a business scheme. I can see certain people in higher ups and power. One in particular, I could see him doing that if he had a time machine and ended up there.
Yep.
I'm not going to say his name. He's huge.
So, supposedly, to get back on Salem witch trials, what I found was 141 suspects, both men and women, were tried.
Yes. How many were actually executed?
19 were executed by hangings.
And then there was the one that was the worst. This is the worst one to me.
What, the infant?
Huh?
There was an infant at one
But
point.
the infant dying in jail was pretty sad. Because they believed that she was born to a witch, therefore she was also a witch. Because if you're born of evil, you are evil yourself.
And supposedly, the adults bullied the girls, the Paris and the other ones, to get them point out people. Yeah.
A good movie to watch, especially around this time of year, if you've not seen it, I believe it's Winona Ryder and Daniel Day-Lewis. It's called The Crucible. It's based on a book / then there was a play. So they made this movie. Daniel Day-Lewis, and like everything he does, is Oscar-worthy. He plays John Proctor, which was accused of witchcraft due to the fact that his wife was accused of witchcraft, and all he did was openly defend her. That's the messed up thing. If you're if Christian back then, if Christian or Patrick or even you at this point, where like somebody's like, they're a witch, we're gonna burn them. Like, they're not a witch, you jackass. That wasn't a bad cuss word.
You're a witch.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
You're being burned. Goodbye.
yeah, like I'm defending somebody. You know, like it's like
That's
high school
how it
drama, but with death penalties. It's it's horrible.
It's like detention. No, we'll just burn you at the stake. It's fine.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Slap me on the wrist with a ruler?
Ah.
But the worst execution to me, I think, and I think they only used it once or twice, is the pressing of stones.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Where they take you, they lay you down on a bed of stones,
and then they
put one stone on you, and until you like confess, which they're gonna burn.
They're gonna
You didn't have to repeat that. I said sorry.
One was pressed to death by heavy stones.
Just one? I thought there
that's
was two.
That's what I found.
It wasn't used often, and I think it was just used because at the time they're
Imagine-
like, we don't know what to do.
Imagine people
They-
that were
they-
actually
they could find
executed, or
creative
not
ways.
executed. Imagine how people felt in the stockade.
Yeah, but how we don't even know if this is all accurate because yes, there are
From
court
the History
cases.
Channel.
I know what they're getting it from, and it's historically accurate. But as what I'm saying is, we don't even know if that was everybody.
Yeah.
Because not everybody got a trial in
And
the
not
court of law.
everybody got. Yeah.
You have no idea. Look at today with like certain things, like certain people believe certain things, and they've been beaten to death.
You know how they tested to see if somebody was a witch or not?
There's
Back
many
with the
ways.
Salem witch trials. Well,
There were so many ways.
one of them that I was researching was actually
Rock and rope.
Oh yeah,
rock and rope.
and if they came up, they were a witch.
If they drown,
Yeah,
I've
drown, you
heard
live.
stuff about the
I
drowning.
mean, if you drown, you
Yeah.
live. If you
They
drown,
threw you in
human.
with a rock tied to your ankle.
Where do you come up with this stuff, though?
I don't know.
A small
I don't know.
town
Maybe
that's-
they were huge fans of the Spanish Inquisition because nobody saw that coming.
No.
Yes, I just made a Monty Python reference. I apologize.
No one ever suspects the Spanish Inquisition. Sorry.
So that you want to know where they come up with the ideas, and I'm not saying everybody, but most of the people that become like evangelical,
And
I don't know how to say it because I don't like them. I just stay away from them.
evangelical.
Whatever, those really crazy people that are like, you get that Benny Hinn dude that's like, BAM! And like you're healed. Like, you just hurt my arm.
What?
Yeah, there's this guy that he
kills people by going.
Yeah, he just like smacks him in the forehead.
yeah.
So it's like BAM! Like, but they believe it.
Alright, $20.
Prime example of what you were talking about. How does witchcraft work? Same thing that works. They believe they're being healed. They believe so much that this guy can heal them because of his lies.
And because they are so desperate to have something.
Exactly.
To heal
They're
them.
out like, and he'll put plants too. Like this guy's in a wheelchair, and he'll smack him, and he'll fall out of the wheelchair. He's done
And
this,
then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
he's
and
able
and he
to
gets
stand and
up,
walk.
but he wasn't really in a wheel. There's a good Steve Martin movie about this too. Very good Steve
basically
Martin movie.
paid people to pretend like they had ailments.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
What happened?
It's completely irrelevant, but some of that, what you're describing, was also in Jonestown too.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
And that would be one place that, like, once again, we were talking about it before. One of those places I would never investigate, just because of the why? And I couldn't do it because of the sheer exploitation of it. It's just exploitation of a horrible tragedy. And I know Salem's the same way, but Salem would be one of those things like this was like hundreds of people, and I know Salem was bad, but people in Salem actually fear for their lives for some reason in certain places they live. Nobody lives where the Jonestown massacres happened that I'm aware of. I think that place is just like empty, vacant land, probably owned by the government. You had a U.S. senator that was gunned down on the way to the helicopter because he said he was going to help the people.
You just saying that just gave me such a bad feeling in my gut. Ugh.
About what?
The place that you don't want to go to.
It's the guy poisoned.
I know, but I have never heard of it. I don't.
You've
know
never heard of the Jonestown massacre?
No.
Jim Jones. He was this preacher that like he made this
way
like
back in the 70s and 60s.
way back
Or 70s.
That wasn't
Well,
that.
before now,
Yeah,
I never openly went and looked for like murderers. And
Well,
stuff
neither do
like
I.
that
But
in
like
history.
Jim Jones is like up there. He's like the American Hitler at that point. Like it wasn't as massive, but it was crazy because it was his own.
I'll put it this
people.
way: over 950 people lost their lives.
Most
Put it
and
that
not most of them were adults. There was a lot of kids too.
Yep.
Do you want to know how?
Who
Are you
injected
talking-
them with cyanide-laced Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he told them to drink the
that's
Kool-Aid.
The one.
Yep. That's
I didn't even know
That's where the
That's Jim
phrase
Jones.
"Don't drink the Kool-Aid" comes from.
Or
I
the
was
joke,
actually-
or that really messed up joke where people were like, "Hey, you guys want to join my religion? Free Kool-Aid!" Like,
That's
but it
I
is.
mean,
It's a
sorry.
joke. It's there. It's
sorry.
no, well, yeah.
It's messed up. But no, I was actually watching.
I think in that instance, that word is okay because
Yeah.
that was
It was messed
That
up.
is but the word you used before actually just does describe what it was. Because the fact that somebody had people believe him so much to turn around and do that.
It's because people want so badly to believe in something.
I know that, but that's exactly what happened with the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
If you had that parish guy stand up in front of everybody, this is the craziest part about this. The reason I'm making this comparison, analogy or comparison, is that if you had him at that time, realize how powerful he could be by making other people believe obviously what he was already doing for money. Jim Jones wasn't doing it for money. Jim Jones was doing it because he was a nutbag. But
I thought he was doing it for money.
No, because he died with everybody else.
I know, but at one point, didn't everybody fund the trip to where they eventually
they funded everything, but the whole reason wasn't for that. The whole reason was just like, basically what they gather is Jim Jones was a serial killer. He just saw it in a different light. And he went about it in a different way.
In a totally different way.
He became a terrorist.
People talk about Charles Manson and say what he did is bad, and yes, what he did was bad.
Yeah.
But Jim Jones, basically, the fact that they don't mention him, but they mention Charles Manson so much, is really crazy to me, because the whole reason is he hid behind a religion. And it wasn't a crazy religion. It was very close to some of the other religions that exist. And he killed almost 1,000 people. And a U.S. Senator. He gunned down a U.S. Senator on the way to the helicopter.
I was going to say, I watched a documentary about it where they were actually filming it.
They actually have that on film.
Yeah,
he's waving, walking back. Everything seems fine. He's like, because what happened was, he had told, because somebody got the guts and courage to be like, look, man, this dude is going to kill us all.
Yeah, don't think, they give him a hope note that says, help us or something like that.
Yeah, and he read the note.
He actually dropped it.
Did he drop the note?
A kid actually said something. He passed a note.
Oh, that's right.
And then
because he was waving, and all of a sudden, just like, okay, okay, and that happened on live television. That's insane to me. That could have happened back then.
Yeah.
If that guy had seen power and something he could control back then, and that kind of makes him more scary if he was doing it for money. Because think about it. If he was into real estate or something like that,
people do anything for money.
Look at another thing to look at is look at the Heaven's Gate cult.
That's once again, but that's weird. How all these cults are religious, not necessarily the religion.
I think a cult.
I wonder what the first type of
let me ask you.
Cult was.
I was about to say,
that wanted money.
Scientology.
I was about to say.
Well, I don't know because that started in the '60s. But I'm sure there's way older.
Scientology is almost like Hitler based.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it's Catholicism. I hate to say that. That's the first one that was all about the money. They have so much riches. They have more riches than any government combined.
I know.
Now, let me ask you guys this: at what point does something actually become? Where does that line get drawn as opposed to from a general group that gets together to a full-scale cult?
I don't think that's what it is. And I know this is kind of not paranormal, and we're kind of going off.
No,
but I think but it ties into the Salem witch trials and what could happen today and what has happened in the 70s. The very, very similar situations.
It still happens today.
And it still happens today.
But it's more hush.
Yeah, exactly, which is weird in the
people
world
have
of technology.
Learned.
You have the Nazi uprising again. That's kind of scary.
That's sad.
And that's what's going on, man. This is why they say those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. And here we are, and I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for another Salem witch trials type thing to happen, because it's already happening with certain things. People are accused of certain things that they didn't do. Well, you believe in this religion, so I think you did this. No, I didn't do. I had nothing to do with it. Well, you have a similar last name to that person that came from there. That doesn't mean we're related.
They're just trying to find.
They're trying to find. That's exactly what they did.
Something.
They're trying to find links that persecute innocents.
Yep, the nitpick with their
because they don't understand and they're too scared to even give it a chance to understand it. That's as political as I'm going to get with this. But that's what the Salem witch trials were. That's exactly what it said.
Yeah, I was going to say, I found it said that a lot of it was there were complex political, religious, and racial issues under the crisis.
Exactly. And that's what anything is. And I'm not saying everybody that's religious is bad. Do not take that way or whatever I said this way. What I'm saying is certain people will use religion to gain ground, and it works every time.
Well, yeah. Religious freedom.
I don't think we should persecute. That we'd be wrong for doing that. I think people should believe what they want, but I don't believe anybody should have the right or ability
to shove it down someone else's throat.
Which is what's going on right now. The separation of church and state. Nobody's listening to that right now, and that scares me because I'm not Christian anymore. And when people see that, if we get into a certain situation, I'm going to be one of the first to be singled out. I'm going to be part of the new Salem witch trials because I do not believe. And I do, and it's weird enough. People have asked me, what religions, if any, not joking,
would you consider following?
Yeah, because I would joke about flying spaghetti monster. You know, like his noodly, there is no gravity, it's his noodly appendages holding us down. They're invisible. Yeah, Pastafarianism. It's a real thing. It's funny. It's great. I love it. The Brits are amazing.
I thought you were talking about Cthulhu for some reason.
No. Look up the flying spaghetti monster. Although I joke about that too. They're like, well, what religion? I'm like, the ones with the ancient ones. Cthulhu Fhtagn. Back to this though. When it comes down to certain things, religions that I see, only because I've done a lot of research, and the things I've come up with are things I can't talk about here because it would make people mad. But it's historically accurate to the stuff I've read. Simple as that. And it's out of the Bible and stuff like that. I would probably side with paganism or Wiccan if I had to choose a religion. And the reason being because it's ancient and most others are actually based upon it, other than some, like Buddhism's not. Because it's just as ancient, if not older.
Yeah, isn't Halloween...
Halloween is another
pagan holiday.
Halloween is Samhain. And Samhain is the end of autumn. It's autumn's end. Or, I'm sorry, summer's end.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Easter also a pagan holiday?
Easter is too. Do you want to know why do you want to know what the Easter Bunny's for? Easter is the
rebirth, right?
No. Well, in Christianity, yes. But within paganism...
Is what?
Easter is based on, I believe the god's name is Esther. Esther is, I believe, the goddess or god of fertility. Do you know why? Do you know what the Easter Bunny's...
I think I heard you talking about that.
Maybe.
Because the rabbits are known for...
Easter, yeah, the Easter Bunny are no... What, yeah. Hey, we're like rabbits. Yeah. So that's... You liked what I did there. I blanked to that myself. I'm learning. So, yeah, there's different... But, yeah, Samhain is like summer's end, basically. It's they celebrate at the time when everything's dying.
Samhain.
And autumn's become... Huh?
It's
Samhain. It's Samhain. It's not Samhain. It's Samhain.
Salmon.
It's not salmon. It's Samhain. Why?
Fish.
Why are you doing this to me?
Wait, isn't Samhain... I feel like... I don't know.
He's the Pumpkin King.
Yeah.
But it's pronounced... I'm telling you, it's pronounced Samhain.
I know, but that's part of Halloween. Samhain. Halloween.
I know, but it's pronounced...
I know, it's... Yeah, but...
Why is everybody doing this to me? Well, and it's also it's also a pretty awesome Danzig band before Danzig went all crazy. It's not Irish. It's pagan.
Are we going to have this whole argument like with the frickin' Brazilian drink?
No, because I know how it's spelled and said. It's spelled Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain.
I have the Pastafarian prayer if you guys want me to read it.
No, we're not going to do... No, we're not... No religions here other than what we talk about that deals with paranormal, and everything we've talked about has dealt with paranormal.
Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, man.
Yeah, his newly appendages. May they hold you down in peace.
Oh.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. That makes me sad.
What, Gaelic?
Well, historically, it's Gales, which is what Gaelic comes from. So today Well, you see, it's not only Ireland, though.
Yeah, I know.
See, you throw me off, man. It's the Irish people, Scottish people, Manx people. I don't know what the Manx people is. I'll have to look that up.
What?
Celtic, Neo-Pagans, and Wiccans.
Yep.
That's not what I said it was, sir.
Everything seems to be connected to
Why do I know all this stuff? It's kind of scary.
Moving around like
the Manx are Celtic people.
Okay, I just never heard of that certain tribe of Celtic people.
Irish Sea and Northern Europe.
Well, let's get into this then, because we have one more topic to go. I think we talked about...
Salem?
Huh?
Are we done with Salem?
Well, did you have anything else to add to it? I mean, we pretty much talked what it was, what it came down to. We did it very scientifically on what we believe. Like I said, the ergot of rye and the politics that were behind it, even though I don't like to get political. But that's what this show is. If you have a different belief, though...
About what?
About anything that we talk about. Like, if you're on the show again, as a guest host...
I plan to be on it again if you guys will have me back as a Oh,
No,
we
they can
didn't
be
even
around.
talk about what Tituba proclaimed she saw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to go into that a little bit. Which
Well-
makes me wonder what... Because that doesn't sound anything to deal... To me, I don't say what that is after you explain it.
So supposedly Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne were the first to be called out as witches by the girls. And supposedly Tituba was tortured. And she said, at one point she said, the devil came to me and bid me serve him. And that was March 1692. So I think that was the first time she was tortured. Then there was another time where she claimed to have saw black dogs, red cats, yellow birds, and a white-haired man who...
Oh, sorry. Repeat that one with red cats.
No. It was black dogs,
Okay.
red cats, yellow birds, and then a white-haired man who bade her to sign the devil's book. And that supposedly she knew that there were more witches that were wanting to destroy the Puritans.
Is there an actual painting of John Parrish?
There should be.
Okay, we're gonna look this up because I have a theory, and I think I just.
It better not be a funny one where you...
It's not. It's right now. It's actually.
Oh,
to
I
me,
thought you were going to be like, oh,
No,
I've seen him throughout time. He's a time traveler.
No, I was being serious, but I do kind of actually think that it's possible that when we were talking about that with Tesla, that he might be. But what I'm saying with this is, I think if this is what I'm getting at, that is not the John Parrish I'm looking for.
Look up John Parrish.
1692.
Yeah, like 1692 or Salem or something like that.
I got a whole
That
bunch
can't
of
be
Johnny
right.
Cashes.
What? Let me see.
Right here it says John Parrish was born in 1692.
That might be a son of his, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't find anything about him having any sons.
I know. I think he had a daughter. He did have a daughter.
He
We
had
know
a
that.
daughter, and he obviously had to have either a sister or brother because there was a cousin to Beth, which is Abigail.
All right, so there's not much on him or anything.
Did you find any pictures?
1692 is a. I don't know if they were still using the powdered wigs. A lot of men that were wealthy used powdered wigs as a sign of being wealthy, basically.
Yeah. And power, I think.
She came from Barbados, but she sailed with John Parrish, correct?
Yes.
What
As
if she
far
was?
as I know.
What if she was referring to? She saw black dogs, which is an evil omen.
So you think she thought she saw him?
Not at that point, but I think this is more. She knew she was going to face some shit. I'm sorry, I'm using this contextually.
Some stuff.
She's facing some stuff. I think she kind of figured she might die, so she's like, well, I'm just going to say what I feel like saying. And I think she kind of hid little things in there. She sailed from Barbados. She was the servant / slave of John Parrish, correct?
Yes.
So John Parrish was a rich man, or had money.
I don't think he had money when he got
I
her.
feel like that would be the type of guy, even if he didn't... Oh, no, you had to have money. You had to have some money to...
Well, I don't think he had like a whole lot.
Okay, but to me, I feel like that guy would be like, I don't have the money, but I'm going to dress like I have the money. So, like, possibly what I'm thinking is she's just like, yeah, I saw this white-haired guy who made me sign this book of the devil and sign my life away. Which would have been her signing some sort of thing to get on the
paper
ship.
to become his slave.
Well, not become the slave, but like a manifest.
So then how would you... I mean, black dogs can be explained away because there's dogs that are black.
Bad omen. It was
But
a bad
how
omen.
do you explain red cats? What is something that's red and looks like a cat?
I'd have to do further research upon that.
Other than maybe a fox. Maybe. And Barbados, I don't know. They might.
But,
have,
I mean, like,
they might have yellow birds that are native.
What if John Parrish and his family had some sort of cat that was like of reddish color?
What, like a ginger cat?
Well, like different tabby
But
cats have that like bright, like orangish red, like the fur. There's different. What I'm saying is, like, for me, I feel like she's just like, you're either
She's
going
just
to
making stuff up.
You're either going to torture me or put me in jail. So yeah, you want to know what happened? I saw a white man with a white wig make me sign blood to my life away in the devil's book. Like, that to me is just like, I'm gonna die or I'm gonna be tortured. I'm gonna end up in a prison, or I'm gonna end up like like these other witches.
By the way, from those claims, from her claiming that stuff, that's when the surrounding counties started doing witch hunts as well. So because of her saying that,
that also makes me wonder, because historically they wouldn't have been tried in a court of law. How many slaves that did practice voodoo, hoodoo, or witchcraft were also killed off in the Salem witch trials or the surrounding aftermath?
Who knows?
See what I'm saying? There's more to this than I didn't even think about that when we started doing this. Now I'm thinking, like, there could be, like, way more. Was she actually tried in the court of law? Or was she just thrown in jail?
No, I think she was just tortured.
Right.
Torture.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
could have that's because she was a slave. They didn't want to give her the rights.
But my point is you could have had, like, you could have right then and there, because obviously somebody's going to be like, that's voodoo. Because they didn't know about it. Well, so, like, if you're going to tie that together and you want to get rid of someone very easily without having a problem, you're not going to, like, take you're not take a slave to a court of law and claim they're a witch. You're just gonna be like, oh, you're a witch, sorry. Like,
well, I mean, I think the whole thing where they got the witch from is because supposedly I found that the doctors that examined the girls when they were having their quote-unquote fits said that they were bewitched.
You have ghosts in your blood.
Yeah, but see, that's what I was talking
Just inject some whiskey into the back of your frontal lobe and you'll be good tomorrow.
And what's even more kind of weird, well, not weird, but what's more kind of messed up is that some people were actually, like, tortured to get false confessions.
Yeah.
That's what that's
what Titubo did.
But my point is like we know who died supposedly during the Salem witch trials. My point is how many did actually die, because they're not going to include slaves within that, because there's not going to be actual documented.
Oh no!
Like, they were tried, they were convicted, they were sent to execution
because they were slaves.
Because they were slaves, they meant nothing. Mm-hmm. Which I'm not saying. We're not saying they meant nothing.
Back then, that's how
they were viewed, which is a horrible aspect. Yes. But things were not documented about slaves. They were a piece of property.
Because they were. Yeah.
So then again, how many people back then died and suffered because their beliefs in hoodoo or voodoo, or even if they did find paganism? Knows? That's my point. A lot more people probably died than we think, and we're mourning the white ones. That's kind of messed up.
And a side note to the whole witchcraft and voodoo and hoodoo thing, it's like when you're said to have cast like a spell, there's also karma. Mm-hmm. What goes around comes around. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
that's where what was it, sevenfold?
Yeah, it comes back sevenfold, threefold.
Threefold? Well, there's different elements to different things, but yeah.
Well, voodoo is supposed to come back.
I think if it's based on how bad of the.
It's basically how bad you want.
How bad of the karma? It's
not just bad things.
It's like
too.
Threefold.
Even if you do good things, bad can come of it. That's like, say you cast a good luck spell, and it can be followed by a string of bad luck.
Okay, I don't know. I think there's more, and then it comes down to like. Look at another. We did the same thing with Native Americans. They didn't want to follow our religions.
Yeah,
we did the same thing to them.
Put them on reservations.
It's not even
We're
that,
not
dude.
Even that. We killed a lot of them,
and most of it was over religious beliefs.
Yeah,
and because they thought that they were hostile.
Some of them were, because even certain Native American tribes were like, yeah, those guys. We don't mess with those guys because they scalp people no matter where they're from, as long as they're not part of their own tribe. Yeah. That's different. I mean, like, on a full scale of things, the Salem witch trials did kind of happen again, didn't it? I mean, like, they wanted to convert people.
History repeats itself.
It does, because people don't want to learn it or they're too ignorant to care.
Yeah.
I know this is not paranormal, folks. I know this kind of took a dark turn, but the Salem witch trials does bring up a lot of questions about...
I can get even darker.
Huh?
I can get it even darker.
Go ahead. If it's paranormal based, and it's based on what we're talking about.
It's based on the Salem. I don't know if... So from the neighboring counties, communities, whatever you want to call them trying to find the witches, supposedly 19 of the quote-unquote witches were hung at Gallows Hill.
Oh, you're talking about the Witch Council?
I guess.
Yeah, they took several of them they thought were in this sort of council to be, they're like rebelling against the Puritans.
Is that where the image of like the tree with the hanging people is?
It could be. You have to understand, there's been a lot of mass hangings. Like even pirates. Pirates are the same way. Like I know some pirates are bad.
They're harsh. Pirates are harsh.
Not all
Not
of
as
it.
harsh.
Not all of them.
If you actually look into history,
but the ones that are
let me put this. You know why most pirates did what they did?
Because people weren't loyal.
No. Well, yes, but no. Basically, they became privateers, which is like, we're going to send you into their territory, but we can't have a war. You can't be like, you can't say you're part of us.
They were like merchants.
Mercenaries.
Mercenaries, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you to sell you stuff? Get out of here, pirate.
Yeah.
I was just trying to sell you a straw.
I don't want your straw.
So, basically, they would become privateers working for a government, but if something bad happened, the government would be like, oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't pay him. They'd be like, oh, well, we weren't really going to pay you. You're serving God in your country. So they'd be like, all right, dude, you just screwed me. But there are some that were pirates because of basically vengeance. They worked for the government. They were soldiers. There's a female pirate that basically watched her family get slaughtered in front of her because her husband was a soldier but refused to do something or something along those lines. So they butchered her, or they butchered him, and they butchered the family. And she went off, and she's like, "Well, guess what? England,
you're going down.
Coming for you."
There was actually quite a few.
A lot of it was out of vengeance. That's the weird thing about it. Pirates were vengeful.
I want to say it was either Anne Booney or
It's one of those. It's one of
Anne
those.
Booney or Mary Read.
It's one of those. She lost her family or watched somebody get butchered.
Booney, Mary Read. There's a Chinese one by.
She was crazy.
She or something.
She was crazy. No, she was just straight up crazy. I don't know her backstory, but I know she was one of the most feared pirates of all time. Even with the men, they're like, no, we're not going there. Her ships are over there. No, turn the other way. Turn the other way. She was like the Empress of the Sea.
She looks a bit.
There's a. Well, I know it's not a photo, but there's a painting of her. I take it.
I don't know if that's.
Oh, that's from Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she's in it. And they even in that, where she's like, no, I don't think that's real. Because the 1800s, the pirates were around 1700s. I don't think she would have been old enough to survive. That's.
I
don't know when she was an actual pirate, though. That's the thing.
In 1720, she actually joined a pirate by the name of John Caligo Jack Rackman.
That's who are you talking about?
It says that she terrorized the China.
I think she married him, actually.
No, Mary Read.
Oh, Mary Read? I think she married him. One of them married Calico Jack.
Yeah.
She terrorized the Chinese seas in the early 19th century.
Okay, so the 1800s. So that probably is a real photo of her. That last one you showed me.
She commanded over 300 junks manned by 20,000 to 40,000 pirates, men, women, and even children.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody messed with her because she was crazy. They're like, she has how many ships?
A lot.
Yeah, she died in 1844.
Of? I believe hanging?
I don't know. Let me look.
Wait, she died in 1944, you said?
That's what it says.
Oh, that she
or
died in
1844, sorry.
Oh, okay. So she died of old age then.
Yeah, she was born in 1775 in the Guangdong province of China. She died in 1844 in Guangzhou, China.
That photo, if that's real of her, she aged very gracefully.
Of course she did.
No, I'm just saying, because, like, you're talking about...
No, but there she looks like she's, like, maybe in her late 20s, early 30s.
Okay, but you have to look at when the first photograph was taken and then go from there, because 1775, I mean, she was 25 years when the 1800s hit, and I believe the first photograph was, like, 1816 or 1817? It was, like, the tintype stuff? I could be wrong, and I'm probably way off on that, too.
Battle of the Tiger's Mouth is one of the battles
she like, even everything about her is like, why do we have Disney princess right there? Disney princess. Screw Mulan. I love Mulan, but
Disney won't do that.
I want a live action movie.
They won't do it because
with Michelle Yeoh, with swords and kung fu and just badassery. Because she was a badass, but nobody wanted to mess with her. That's why she had so many fleets and stuff like that. She was just a straight up. I'm sorry, I'm saying some cuss words here, but they're not that bad, you know. She's a badass. I don't think that's offensive to anybody. Like, she was straight up awesome.
She died. Her occupation was gambling house and brothel owner, former pirate, former prostitute.
So she retired. I think she was a prostitute that became a pirate. I think is what happened.
Her criminal charge is piracy. Her criminal penalty was death penalty.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she died by that, because pirates have escaped. Like, and I would think might have escaped. She could be like, yeah, no, not happening.
Her allegiance was to the Red Flag Fleet. The years that she was active was 1801 to 1810. So she was a pirate for 9 years. Is what I'm getting from this.
So she basically went from being a prostitute to be like, hey, screw this. I'm going to go make my millions. Well, at that time it would have been like thousands, but it still would have been like millions of a day. Can you imagine how much worse she probably has now if like her ancestry kept the money that she had?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's insanity. I know this isn't paranormal, but that's just nuts.
She died in bed surrounded by her family on 1844 at the age of 16.
So she escaped from when she was supposed to be put to death and then died of old age.
Yeah.
This needs to be a movie. I'm sorry. It needs to be a movie. But I'm not even sure how we got to pirates other than like the prosecution of like vengeance and stuff like they were. Some of them were very vengeful people.
I don't know. Talking about pirates is fun though.
It's what?
It's fun.
It's fun. But what I'm saying is some of them watch family members get killed and that's why they, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, you guys are screwed. I'm coming after you. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Pirates can be...
Mary Reed actually played off a boy pretty well.
Yeah, did I not tell you about that? I told you.
Oh, she's the one
There's a cross-dressing pirate.
A boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they thought she was a man for most of her career. She's like, I'm a chick. I don't think they found out until she went to jail the first time because she was pregnant.
No.
So one of them got pregnant, and then they found out in jail that she was pregnant.
Not Mary Reed.
No.
It had to have been
her
Bonnie.
and Bonnie.
Bonnie. Which, well, the reason I'm saying Peter
two
Pan.
of the most famous female pirates.
Because it's funny because you know who Captain Hook's love interest was before he became a pirate.
Bonnie.
It was Bonnie something. Yeah, it's based on her. And then they had a falling out, and he became Captain Hook. Although, and oddly enough, that's not actually his name. Supposedly, according to the author of Peter Pan, and I know this is a weird offshoot, we're going off on a tangent here. It all kind of ties together because I said, paranormal, hey, Peter Pan's kind of paranormal, alright?
Actually, yes.
It is. I mean, if he was existent, he's not existent, he's a fictional character. So he's not really paranormal, he's explainable.
Let's go to Neverland.
I wish, that'd be cool. I would be like Robin Williams, Peter Pan, and be like, let's go after Hook. Supposedly, according to the author, he was when asked what his real name is and who he was, he said, if I gave away now the identity of Captain Hook in this day and era, people would be furious with me on who he was. So he actually based it on somebody, and it was actually a higher up in society back then that he based it on. So,
and the real identity has never been known.
No,
right?
Nope. The real identity has never been known. But yeah, so I mean, we covered that. We got one more topic to talk about, which also goes back into fiction somewhat, and that's vampires. I'm here
Not
to
the
suck.
sparkly ones, right?
My favorite.
No, the ones that are here to suck your blood.
I love how all
Look here.
three of you guys
We
in unison were like,
what is that?
whoa.
You're sounding like the sparkly ones. You got to do it.
One. You got to count.
Yes.
Why are you trying to sound like Count from Sesame Street?
One.
Wait.
He sounds like Count.
Three.
No. Ask me how many topics we got over.
How many topics have we gone over?
One.
No, it's one.
Sorry. I was trying to do it for the kids. You have to. Why are you hating on me? I was trying to be more accurate for the kids. They're learning. 1. Two. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lots of topics. We went off on tangents here. All right.
That should be like the beginning. It's like how many topics?
How many topics do we count? How many topics do we talk about today? 1. 2. 2.5. That's Sleepy Hollow for you that aren't paying attention. 3.
Okay, the one who probably has the most. I don't know about him, but the one that has the most research is this one, as far as I know. I didn't get to
with vampire. Well, I know what I've learned when I was younger, but names and dates are different. I know names. I don't know dates. I know 2 very prominent figures that are the reason that Dracula exists.
Dracula.
Well,
yep.
Okay.
Vlad the
Yep.
Impaler being one.
I
of
just-
No, you're not.
No, I just wanted to know if he was connected.
Count Dracula is not a real person.
No. Prince Dracula.
Prince Dracula is not a real person.
Yeah, he's not a real person either.
Bram Stoker supposedly based his fictitious story.
Not supposedly, he did.
No,
Oh, did he? Okay.
It was
on
the
two
inspiration.
very, very important higher up figures, very prestigious
Only one.
people. No, there's two.
Two of them.
There was two. There was
One
two.
of, one of
promise
which
you.
being.
Hold on, I'm gonna get to this. Let me do this.
Let him get to it.
Okay, there's technically two. The reason
Okay.
being because the whole sexy effect.
Oh, yeah.
The sexy
So
effect.
the first one is obviously Vlad Dracula or Vlad the Impaler.
Yep.
He was a count that, during wars would send his men out to fight and bring people back, and he would sit out on the battlefield and he would drink red wine, which people would...
What was his name again? Vlad Dracul?
Vlad Dracul. Literally translated
Or
to Son of
Vlad,
Dragon.
Vlad the Tempest.
Son of the Dragon.
Is his
And
actual
Vlad the
name.
Tempest.
Vlad the Impaler,
That's not his
you mean?
actual... No, Vlad the Impaler's a nickname. Vlad the Tempest is another nickname. Vlad Dracul.
Vlad the Tempest the Fourth.
So it was the Tempest?
hold
I
on.
thought because the Tempest is a thing.
No, that's his actual...
I know, but
Here's what I have
the
written down.
Tempest
Yeah, I know.
is an actual... okay, so I thought it was Dracul.
I got something written down for you guys.
No,
if you
that's
guys
his
want to listen to it.
nickname.
Well, during the early 1400s, Vlad's father, Vlad II, was the military governor of Transylvania and was made a member of the Order of the Dragon, Ordo Dracul, by the Holy Roman Empire. Sigmund for his part in protecting Christian Europe against the invading Ottoman Empire. After his introduction into the secret society. After his introduction into the secret society of Christian Knights in 1431, Vlad's father became known as Vlad Dracul, meaning Vlad the Dragon.
Yep.
When his son, Vlad III, was born, he became known as Dracula, meaning son of the dragon or son of the devil, as some would have it.
I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but this goes with what it is. I guess he was appointed as what I see is a voivode, or a voivode.
Yeah, he's a hero
Voivod.
of Romania.
But it's
Voivod.
not, because I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't think any of us do.
I think I have the same thing. Voivod.
Well, his favorite...
Yeah, but the way to actually pronounce it is it's Slavic, so I'm not even going to try to butcher that.
Well, we all know his favorite form of execution was obviously impaling.
But not in the way you think, my friend. Not in the way you think. Supposedly, his favorite task as a warlord, because he was an appointed warlord, basically he was in charge of the armies and stuff,
Yep.
he liked to sit on the battlefield and enjoy a nice steak. He liked to enjoy a nice red wine, which is kind of where probably the misinterpretation of him drinking blood comes from.
Makes sense.
But while he was sitting there, among him, his guests were there as well. And his guests would have a pike anally inserted into them and then lift it up. And while Vlad ate
Did it
dinner,
go through the mouth too?
it would it wouldn't just come through the mouth because it doesn't matter where your body's going to shift. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, that's uncomfortable.
So wait.
I'm going to twitch. So you just
So
slid
wait,
down.
he would stick it through,
That
Yes.
point would go up your anus.
and then he would just drive
Eventually-
it into the ground.
It,
What-
no, it
what
wasn't. It's
would
not drive
happen?
it down. They dig a hole.
How
Yeah, I know,
important-
but put it
sorry.
into the ground,
You said hell. That's not a.
and
No.
then
That
and
was
then
another
it
thing.
would slow your body would.
Your body would-
your body.
Yeah, it
Basically, you
literally
committed your own
builds
execution with gravity.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And he would do this while eating. And he did this to show that I don't care about you people, so go ahead, keep fighting. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not here. I'm going to eat my dinner. When you get captured, this happens to you. So, that is...
Yet another.
He's a
person.
crazy person. He's a very crazy person. He was a genius when it came to war. He was a genius when it came to tactics.
Yep.
Did you have something to add to that? You said something and then you stopped.
Yeah. God. I
He's
forgot.
Romanian.
Sorry.
Yes,
I forgot what
well,
to
He's
say.
yeah.
a hero of Romania.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why. He's Transylvania,
Is that
yes.
really what he
Because-
looked like?
That's a painting.
That's
Yes,
a painting
that's
of what
yeah.
it looked like, yes.
His
So
dash,
that's
though.
okay. So that's where the
Jeez.
son of the dragon with the order of the dragon comes from, which is used with Dracula as well. Now, the other person that I'm aware of that a lot of people don't seem to know is everybody knows her as Elizabeth Bathory, but it would be Elizabeth Bathory. She was a countess.
Right.
I think there's a more political driven reason before her story. Like his was just he was a psycho and people saw him as a psycho. It's like he drinks blood. He drinks blood. Look, there's people on pikes. He's eating steak and drinking blood. That's a cup of blood.
No, she was psychotic.
I think everybody back
hold
in
on,
those days were psychotic.
No, let me. Okay, this one I feel like this is. I know a lot about this.
What's her name?
She wasn't a serial killer.
Bathory.
Hold on. Okay, here's the thing. Historically, when it comes to stuff we know from legend, she was a serial killer. She supposedly bathed in the blood of innocents. She supposedly would bring servant girls that were virgins.
Says right there, Hungarian serial killer.
I'm getting to this. Okay, I'm getting to that. We have no proof what she really did. When they supposedly found the pit that the bodies were in, which was like a normal dungeon of any castle, they didn't find that many bones. They didn't find that many remains that wouldn't be normal for that time period.
Well, she ate them.
You don't eat bones.
Well, not the bones, but she ate them.
So where'd the bones go?
That's a good point.
Do bones decompose?
Bones do not decompose.
No.
That's why
No,
they fossilize.
I meant burn.
At high temperatures, I don't think she had the capability of doing it.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think she could burn them in a fireplace.
Did she have dogs?
Huh? Even dogs don't eat bones. They chew on them, but they don't actually eat
Yeah, but they
bones.
could have maybe...
There would still be remains and proof that there was dogs. Here's the thing. I think she was actually screwed over by the government. Here's the reason why. Her husband died, she took power. She was a female in a time period where women shouldn't have power. So they planted a story where she supposedly bathed in a bathtub of blood to keep her youth and innocence because she believed that's how she could keep her innocence. Which I'm not saying she didn't go psycho. I'm saying pressure might have driven her to psycho.
So wait, she only killed women?
Yes.
Supposedly.
She used blood for cosmetic purposes.
Yes. Because it supposedly
Well, I
kept her
mean,
young.
there's methods today that use blood.
I understand that, but if you look at
that.
the signs and how they didn't give her a proper trial. Do you want to know how
she's a noble?
If you're a noble, you would get a proper trial. They didn't give her a proper trial.
She's a woman.
The person that was in power, the person that wanted to be in power, was like, she's doing crazy things up there. So they believed her. Once again, witchcraft kind of thing. They believed her, or they believed that person. It was just a him. They went up there. They basically told her to surrender, but she refused because she's not going to give up the power because she had no reason to. They locked her in her own home, along with her servants, and let them all starve to death. She died of starvation, supposedly.
Yeah. It says right here that she was held in a solitary confinement in a windowless room until her death 4 years later. After not getting a trial.
So, my whole thing is they railroaded her and made a crap story to kind of... Because I guess historically what we're finding now with the remains of her castle is it doesn't add up to what the story was. So they're finding more stuff out. They believe that it was a political move and stuff. But she's also supposedly one of the people that Bram Stoker... No, Bram Stoker. That other one sounds so bad now. I hear that coming out of my Bram Stoker now. Well, if I ever... No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, so Bram Stoker, he based it on a few people, and supposedly that's one of them.
You forgot to say that she bathed in the blood of virgins.
I did not forget to say that. I did say that.
I know, but you didn't say virgins
yes,
specifically.
I did. We go back. I bet you. I did say virgins.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, I did.
they had to be virgins supposedly to the.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I'm sorry. No, I'm going to say this. Back then in that area, there wasn't a lot of people to begin with.
So to find virgins.
So how the hell are you going to get that many virgins? She supposedly killed a lot of people.
Well, some people actually sent their
sent
daughters
their kids to
over
her.
there to learn good manners. And they came
I
back.
don't think that's actually
was
what... I think she
probably
was
her-
railroaded politically. Bram Stoker used it for the whole seducing thing. Because let's face it, Vlad, that dude was not seducing. The dude looks like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, and had the penchant.
His mustache.
Well, you also got to
Oh my
understand
God.
that everything that he did as far as impaling and being on the battlefield, everything was all like psychological warfare.
Well, yeah, he wasn't.
He did
He
not want any confrontation with anybody until he was killed in
I wanna see if he had
battle
any
in
kids.
the 1600s.
and even then,
1462.
Oddly enough-
62, I'm sorry.
oddly enough, do you know? And that's messed up because you know how Dracula supposedly became Dracula. He fought in the Crusades.
Mm-hmm.
His family still died, so he sold himself to the devil, basically.
And he had to be resurrected as an
I don't know.
unholy being.
Yes, that's
Now-
the story from Bram.
Stoker.
It
Yeah.
shows that he doesn't have any kids.
No.
As far as I can
He
tell.
had no heirs.
And that's
Really?
supposedly
Actually-
his
Come on, let me
He's
think about
actually
this. On a date, if you're on a date with somebody and they're like, "So, tell me your interests." Oh yes, I like to sit in the battlefield. I like to eat steak and
You
drink
don't
wine.
think they'd already be on the battlefield eating steak with
No,
people?
no, I think he would take him out. He's got to put up a front, for the women. Got to have an air, I like to take long walks on the battlefield, eat steak, and drink wine.
Look at the bodies.
Look at the bodies. Maybe burn. Maybe have a campfire with some bodies, and and then the pikes. The pikes are beautiful this time of year. It's cold. The snow's falling on them. They look like Christmas trees. Christmas trees.
This one's mourning. This one's just getting ready to die. It's a good day.
That one, he's our stand-up comedian, or as I call him, the squat and fall comedian.
So just to show even the fact that this vampirism actually was way before this too.
No, this one's.
So
already
you have
started in
okay.
Third millennia BC.
Third millennia BC,
Was
so the year
birth of
3000.
vampirism.
Wait. Hold on.
Third millennia.
We're not even in the third millennia. Wait, hold on.
That's
BC
long.
before Christ.
Yes. Oh, before. Okay.
Jesus, take
okay.
the wheel.
Yeah, he was saying BC.
Really?
BC, not AD.
Yeah, I know. I just remember
Before Christ.
that. So
Yes, that was
That's
the
how
birth
we've
of
come.
vampirism.
it's vampirism.
I can't see how somebody can.
If you're not going to say it right, don't act Vlad for an interview. Just
And
say
there
it.
are people
It's not
interesting-
to do that.
There are people
What's-
that actually believe that drinking blood will enhance their psychic.
There's
and mental
okay,
abilities.
hold on. There's an actual, and in New Orleans, there's a group there too. There are actually some people.
Oh yeah, there were real vampire hunters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, you can still get kits for them.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We have one that's from 1879.
Most of them are from the 1800s. Around the days of the European, like the midnight riders, basically.
Yep. And you know what they consisted of?
Steaks.
Steaks, bottles of garlic,
Pitchforks.
holy water.
Mm-hmm.
There was silver.
Silver bullets?
Mhm.
Oh, but wasn't that werewolves?
No.
No, I don't. There were silver bullets. I don't remember silver bullets. I remember like silver,
Yep.
like a silver cross.
Was
I don't
there a
remember
rosary?
Because here's the thing: that silver bullet
Cross,
shit
yes.
stuff, the silver bullet stuff, is kind of crap. Because at the time, you know how much silver was worth? There's nobody making a bullet out of silver.
Yep, I know. I just
It was worth a lot back then.
But just gun and bullets, mallets, stakes.
That's the
crosses,
dreaded
like
stick.
you
Yeah,
said.
so wooden stakes, silver. Well, not silver stakes. Some of them had tiny silver stakes, I guess,
Crosses.
but not to like.
It's important to know. It's important to know that when Vlad the Impaler was killed in battle, he was actually decapitated and his head was burned.
That well, that's why they give that. That's where the only way to kill a vampire is decapitate them,
Decapitate them.
stake them, which he died
And
by
then
his
burn
own,
their head or something.
and then burn their bodies, burn them.
Yeah, but where did
Which
the
is a
whole
good thing.
where did the whole lore of vampires not being able to stand the sunlight come from?
Probably
I think that came from Bram. Because in his couldn't stand the sunlight.
who?
Brave
Brad,
Brave.
yeah, but okay, but I think it also ties into both Erzabet and Vlad. I don't think Vlad was seen very often during the day, and Erzabet always stayed in her castle because she was fearful that the government was going to come take her stuff. So it makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
At what point does the government come in and say, "Hey, you need to stop killing people"? It's getting
No, it's not. Okay, once again with
I'm just
her.
saying.
First of all, he was. His dad owned the government. Basically, he was the warlord appointed by the government. So Vlad could do whatever he
He
wanted.
could do whatever he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'm going to take you, and I'm going to put your legs over there. I'm going to string lights through your skull over here, and then I'm going to eat dinner with you. How's that sound? And he could do that. And
Maybe
nobody
he
would-
was just lonely.
My point exactly. Though, a date would be like,
Dad a virgin.
long walks on the beach of the battlefield.
Dad a virgin for sure.
What is your obsession with saying battlefield with him?
Because he was always on the battlefield. He was a warlord.
So he had a battlefield in his backyard?
Yes, actually he did. When they tried to storm his castle, he did have a battlefield there.
Did he have an army that lived on his...
Yes.
Yes.
Most nobles had their own armies.
What the... I mean...
Yeah, well, back then, most nobles had their own armies and stuff.
Way back in the day.
Even
I
Erzabet
didn't
did,
even
but
know that. I need to catch up on my history.
So, side note though,
Sorry.
if you guys had the opportunity to become a vampire, would you want to become one? knowing that if you knew that you would live forever.
Yeah, but it's that constant
No, because
hunger.
the actual version of the vampires that you're referring to are the romantic-sized ones that we got in fiction. Whereas the actual vampire that we are supposed to know, quote-unquote, or has been referenced in folklore and stuff like that, is similar to Nosferatu. How he looked, how he acted, how he
You mean the buck-tooth fang one?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the
From the old
closest...
French film? Is
He's
it
the
French?
closest, yes, French.
He's the closest depiction.
He's the closest depiction of an actual vampire.
Actually, Jonan Vasquez, the creator of Invader Zim, actually had a short comic strip about like this teenager wants to be turned into a vampire. So he asks this like very like attractive, sexy looking male vampire. He's like, "Can you turn me?" He's like, "Yes, I can turn you. It'll be my pleasure." And he does. But like he has to start out at the prepubescent stage, which is like the big large head and the fangs in the front. He's like, "I don't want it. I'm ugly." He's like, "How long is sex?" It lasts for a very long time, but once you're done with it.
So this is what they
Yes.
depicted?
Yes,
That
that's
is-
the closest.
That is
of
actually what
they're
people
supposed to be
believe they would
depicted
see.
as.
And
They would look
yeah.
like?
Like a zombie.
Which oddly enough is a
thing.
very close, other than if you get into the Sasquatch belief of Wendigos. That is also very similar to what Wendigos were supposedly looking like.
Except
What,
Wendigos
like
are much
super
more- except-
gangly? And
Yeah, but except the Wendigos are much more fearsome than a.
And well, they're a lot
Well, you would know,
powerful.
but you know why though.
Yeah.
because
because
they
when-
ate human flesh.
But it's not that
Consume
Wendigo.
vessels.
Wendigo, which I started with Native Americans, believe that if you ate the flesh of a human, you would gain their ability, their strength, and their knowledge. So yes, you would become like a genius.
So if you turn into a Wendigo and you ate him, you would get
No,
all
it doesn't work that way.
his stuff.
It doesn't work that way.
What do you mean it doesn't work? It does work that way.
When a human consumes another.
That's how you become a
When
Wendigo.
you convert to cannibalism.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cannibalism starts Wendigo. Like that's what it's the same thing. If you eat a human,
don't they have to be in the certain circumstances where they're like starving and they can't?
Yes.
No. What do you know?
If you're starving,
No,
you have nothing else to eat.
being a Wendigo is not. No, you
I
can be a
thought
cannibal.
Wendigos were just like people who were so starved and that were like fighting cannibalism, and then they finally let in. That's when they
No, because it doesn't matter what circumstance they come down to. Like the reasoning
Just as
behind
long
eating
as they
flesh.
just
If they
cannibalize.
consume flesh, they're a cannibal. But if they do it often, they become a Wendigo. Over time, they become a Wendigo. And the whole idea about Wendigos is that like if you eat the human flesh or consume the human body, you gain their knowledge, you gain their strength, so you become this unstoppable, smart force, basically that is immortal as long as you keep consuming. The problem is you become more primal in looks and stuff like that. So you become more like a bald ape.
where your arms are elongated and stuff like that.
Elongated.
All
You have like for some
The
reason the
pointed
ears seem to be
ears,
pointed,
yeah.
and you do have the same similar teeth, but they're jagged instead of like the two fangs. You have just jagged teeth. Like Wendigo is and that's weird because
Doesn't the eyesight go too?
no, I don't think so. I think Wendigos can see like. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it depends. Like, if you're eating a bunch of blind people, maybe you gain your blind. I don't mean that in a joke. I mean, like, because if you gain their knowledge and strength, like, I'm sorry, like, I get your. If you're a Wendigo, if you eat a bunch of dumb people, aren't you
I just
just
ate a bunch
dumb?
of people and I'm
Be like,
Alright.
I just ate a bunch of dumb people in Salem that thought people were witches. I feel really dumb right now.
You were saying the cat. I'm like,
No, I didn't. No, I would be dumb if I ate Salem.
I love Salem.
So 1732 there was 14 books published alone in Germany about vampires.
Yeah, but here's my thing. How far is Romania from Germany? I think they're very close.
Yeah, they are.
You have to remember where.
And it's
Where's Transylvania? Is that not Romania?
that is Romania. Yeah,
Really?
it's the capital of Romania.
Okay, so where was Vlad at?
So
He's
Transylvania.
Romania.
When was Vlad at?
Transylvania.
When?
Oh,
When?
1431 was when he was born.
Okay, so after that took off.
1462.
After that took off, and they believe because even back then, Bram's not the only one that believed he consumed the blood of people. He's not the only one that believed he like maybe based him on Vlad, but he's not the only one that thought that Vlad. So like Bram Stoker, Vlad, Transylvania. It's a lot of stuff to. He's not the only one that thought he was a vampire. You see what I'm saying? So maybe Germany's like, yo, that Vlad guy. Maybe we need some like informational books on ways to stop these.
And then 2 years after that, 1734, the word vampire entered the Oxford Dictionary.
Wow.
That was when it was officially entered.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And guess what? In 1892 was the Americans, our most famous vampire was Mercy Brown.
Mercy Brown. I've not heard of that. Go ahead. Take that on. Because the only thing I could think of in America that'd be close to a vampire would have been H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, that's the only information that I got was she was in Rhode Island.
What was her name?
Mercy Brown.
Mercy Brown vampire incident.
Huh.
Do you want me to read it?
Or
do you have your stuff
somebody
here?
somebody mentioned something.
Oh.
Just don't read it word for word because once again,
There's supposedly an incident with Mercy Brown that happened in Rhode Island in 1892.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best documented cases of the exhumation of a corpse
exhumation.
Yeah.
That's where they exhume the body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in order to perform rituals to banish an undead manifestation.
That seems something to...
The incident was part of the wider New England vampire panic.
I have not heard of a New England vampire panic.
Mm-hmm.
I do know in certain places in both America and Europe... I do know in certain parts of Europe and America that they would... And people are like, oh, well, they do it in New Orleans. They do it in New Orleans because they keep the bodies... They're in vaults, so the casket rises with the water level.
She was 19?
Yeah.
That's what it says. It says aged 19 years.
Okay.
That's young.
But once again, that could just be a prosecution of someone that was innocent
Just
that people
like,
just didn't understand.
Salem.
Exactly. See, everything... What's weird, everything we do... Every episode we do something, it all ties together somehow. It's kind of strange.
Yeah,
That's why I mentioned the Elizabeth Bathory thing. Yeah, I know.
So Reverend Montague Summer concluded that...
Wait. Is it Montague or Montague?
Montague. Summer
Montague.
concluded vampires are indeed real.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, you gotta understand, and this is the thing, I wonder, like, looking back on it, you know there are certain people that supposedly do need human blood to, like, survive. There's a certain type of vampirism.
Other than getting, like, blood transfusions?
No, like actual...
No, they're very, like...
blood.
Their
Anemic?
energy is very low, and they're listless, and they can't... You know,
So they're anemic.
No.
sort of, but no. I think it is more of a psychological thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the blood does physically make them more energetic. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. There's also people that suffer from, and I'm not saying I'm a vampire, but I do feel like I understand this disease, that if I go out in the sun, I burn real easily, real quick. I get violently sick. I do, like, sun makes my stomach, like, churn and boil. It hurts. I have thrown up because of sun. And not even, like, I know there's heat stroke and stuff like that. Like, even if I'm in, like, if I wake up in the morning and I go out in the sun and stuff, like, even if I'm out for, like, 5-10 minutes, I get physically nauseous and ill. Like, and it's caused me to...
Ever think it's just the heat?
Huh?
Did you ever think it's just the heat? And not, like, the actual
No,
sun rays?
because it happens. It's even happened when it's cold. It's just something about the sun that, like, I can't.
Maybe
like,
you're allergic to it.
if you're allergic to the sun, then there is a type of vampirism that is actually provable by science, because there's a lot of people like that.
There's
an
people
actual.
that are allergic to crazy things.
I'm just saying, like, there is an actual sect of vampires, quote unquote. I did the quote unquote thing. That that are, like, they're sensitive to certain things. They're sensitive to light, which I am.
Mm-hmm.
I get cluster headaches from certain lighting. Like, inside Michael's, like, I'll get headaches. The last time it got really bad, though, I didn't realize it. I went out into the we were looking for a lost child. So, like, I went out and I ran over to Chuck E. Cheese's from where I work, because it's right there, to see if he was there. The heat was already bothering me because it's heat. The sun was already bothering me because it's sun. When I walked back in, my left eye pupil was about the size of...
A pinhead?
Yep. And then the right one was, like, the size of a penny. And my manager's like, "Are you wearing contacts?" I'm like, "No, why would I be wearing contacts?" He's like, your pupil's like huge on one side and small on the other. I'm like, what? So like, and I noticed something like the
Did you
lighting.
take a picture of it?
I do. I don't know if it's on my phone right now.
I want to see.
I'll try to show it to you afterwards if I do have it. Because I sent the picture to my mom because she used to be a nurse's assistant. I'm like, Mom, I might have to go to the hospital. Because I looked it up, and when that happens, it's usually a sign of, like, basically blood pooling in your brain. So I was really nervous because my manager's like, I'm really worried about you, dude. Like, it looks bad. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like... He was, like, implanting stuff. I'm like freaking out.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
But, like, there are certain people that have, like, sensitivities to certain lights and, you know, the sun and stuff like that. And I have that sensitivity to light. Like, certain lighting will really mess me up. I had what I thought was a stroke once, but it was because of these cluster headaches. And the cause of it was basically the lighting, like the fluorescent lighting or whatever lighting they use in stores. And that's what caused it at Kmart when I had it. And then this one was basically causing the same thing because I went from normal light and I walked into that store and my eye just went like, nope. And it just shrank in one and went big in the other. And then after a while, I started feeling dizzy and like, you know, and I started, yeah. So I was like, Mom. She's like, if it doesn't change. When I got home, though, I sat down, I chilled in the darkness, watched some TV, and I could feel it. Like,
it shrank and get better.
Yeah, I could feel it equalize, which was like the strangest feeling ever because, like, it was twitching. I'm like, oh, it feels so weird. Like, after time, though, I felt better. And so, like, I'm sensitive to light. I'm sensitive to the sun. Both, like, skin-wise. I can't get a tan. I can get a farmer's tan, that's about it. But as far as, like...
I burn. I can't get tan.
Yeah, I don't know. And my friend, he said it. Like, he's like, maybe you suffer from that. Like, he's like, maybe you suffer from vampirism. Like, that doesn't exist, Ben. He's like, it's a very similar thing, but it's more of an actual... You know, they label it as vampirism. You don't, like, go sucking blood. I don't go sucking blood.
Yeah.
I don't need blood, but, yeah, it's an actual, like... It's basically, you have all the symptoms without sucking the blood. And I'm not immortal. I wish I was that before.
Well, Singerian vampirism involves...
Oh, that's sanguine.
Sanguine, yeah.
They do need blood, but they supposedly need blood. Sanguinism is about using blood.
Psychic vampires whose practitioners believe that the
spiritual psychic. No. Psychic.
I know what a psychic vampire
Psychic vampire is like, dude, you're so negative and you're sucking the life out of me. That's a psychic vampire.
Oh.
That's what it is. It's like
literally.
And sometimes like I feel like that to some people because like I'll get in these depressed moods, so I don't like to be around people sometimes. And they're like, oh no, come on, we'll go. Like not you and not you, but like some people like. They'll drag me out of the house, huh?
But me.
No, I don't know you enough to. You've not seen me in my depressed. I know, but you've not seen me enough in that state. Like if I get in my depressive moods because I do suffer from. Well, I'm bipolar, so I suffer from things. So when I get into certain modes, I don't want to be like. I don't really like to talk. I don't really like to be around people. But some people like feel the need to drag me out of the house. And you just didn't know. So like, all right. So like, I'll give it a chance to be one of the people. And then like it's just like. Because I'm negative, I feel like I'm sucking the energy out of their fun, and that's not cool either. So like it's a psychic.
Well, they should have respected you and not.
Yeah, well, some of them are really cool about it. Like I have some friends that like even if I'm having a bad night, they're like, "Well, at least you're really funny when you're depressed sometimes." Like, oh, I guess that's cool, you know.
Trying to make a
find humor in the dark times.
Yeah,
pretty much. But like vampirism, I don't know. I mean, it's possible with certain aspects. There's a show called Dark Tourist where it's actually really cool on Netflix. He goes to New Orleans and he meets people that are like vampires, and like right away this dude's like, these people are just like, I don't know, they're just into the sex kind of stuff. The other one he goes to actually makes a legit case that like he's like, I only have to do it like every couple of months, but like I need human blood and I have people that will donate to me, but I need it, and I know it sounds weird, but like if he doesn't have it, he gets sick, he gets like pale and like weak, he can't move, he can't function, he has back pains and stuff.
Do you think maybe he formed that because he got so dependent on the blood at some point?
It's possible, but the way he made it seem, I'm just going on what I'd seen, the way he made it seem is it was suggested to him by somebody else, so he tried it and it helped him. And blood, you have to understand, like, humans, we don't know everything about our bodies. Nope. Especially, like, the stem cell research stuff. Like, you can cure a lot of stuff with stem cell research.
Yep. That's what I've heard.
I think blood is very similar. I think stem cell research would be a better route. I don't think people should go drink blood, especially from people they don't know. But this guy
diseases that are out there.
But this guy seems to like he's friends with everybody that he does it with. They make sure that they're not diseased. He makes sure he's not diseased. It's literally like a small like incision on the back, and that's like on the shoulder. I think he was worried, but like the crazy thing to me is like the family, because vampirism is and oddly enough, in a lot of cases, vampirism other than Dracula, and even then he had a coven, which is oddly because that's more a witch thing. Most vampires do find some sort of form of family, and in this case, they have other people in this group that are just like they all hang out. They don't consider themselves physical vampires like he does, but they consider themselves a family of vampires. And they all hang out. It was like they had this birthday party for somebody when this guy showed up for the show. They had this birthday party for somebody. It just felt like this huge family. Like everybody's accepted. Like to me, that was just like New Orleans hospitality, because I've been in New Orleans and everybody there was nice. I almost got into a car accident with somebody. They flew off the road. We flew off the road. He comes charging over towards the car. I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna get a fight. We just got to New Orleans. It was our fault.
Okay?
Exactly.
Oh, that's sweet.
He's banging on the window. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to get out.
Kill me.
I'm like, we just got here, and he's like, I'm sorry, it wasn't his fault. We accidentally ended up on a one-way street in the rain. He's like, I'm sorry, it was my fault. I'm like, no, it wasn't, but okay. He's like, you guys okay? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, you guys from around here? Like, no, we're from Florida. He's like, oh, where that hurricane's about to hit? Like, yeah, like right there. He's like, here, come with me, follow me. We're gonna go to the French Quarter. I'm gonna show you where like all the hotels are. You know, like we're gonna get you guys fed. Like,
aww.
Yeah, the dude took us out for drinks and food and shit.
So
like the first night there, it was like, this is insane. It was.
Was he an older guy or like?
No, he was probably at that time. He was probably in his 30s or 40s.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't like he was just like, and he was a pretty big dude, so it was like,
You were scared that you were gonna have to pull out those
How
wrestling
does
moves
it go?
and fight.
Huh?
How does it go?
So I don't know. It was cool. It was nice to meet someone, and then like everybody else there. I don't know if you had that. I know you did with one certain type of person trying to get money, but like everybody there was like super friendly. It was really sweet. It was really cool, and it wasn't because of the hurricane. I mean, we had some people that like, you know, we were at like this 5-star restaurant, and we had the money. It was like we were gonna ditch and dine, but like, you know, like I'm just like, I need drinks. Like I'm gonna get some drinks. So we're watching this TV. There's a hurricane hitting right where my apartment was and just destroying everything. And we're watching like everything get destroyed in Fort Pierce. And like the waitress she's like, "You guys are from there, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why did you come to New Orleans?" Like, it's the only place out of the trajectory of that storm. She's like, how close to that are you? I'm like, pretty much, like, that's right near my house. Like, we were all evacuated. So she's like, look, anything you want to drink, on the house. Aww. Anything you guys have eaten, on the house. Like, she paid for the meal, like, out of her own pocket. Like, amazing, you know, like, everybody there was sweet. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't because of the storm, because, like, I went around talking to people about the local history, and they just love sitting there talking about the history. Like, you'll find these small stores that are selling random stuff. And like, yeah, let me tell you about, like, can you tell me a little bit about the paranormal stuff around here? And they'll go into these, like, crazy stories about stuff.
Stories.
Like, I heard several stories about, like, the real reason, which I know is probably not true, the real reason they shut down the cemeteries at night isn't because of grave robbers, because I witnessed it, and it happens in the daytime. Yeah.
People vandalize.
No, not vandalize. When I went there, we were in one of the cemeteries, this guy pulled up in an El Camino, unloaded a couple shovels and some stuff, took like a huge wad of cash, and he was like, if you get caught, I have nothing to do with this, we don't know each other. And he took off. I'm just like, we're going to go to another cemetery. We're not going to stay around. Not even going to... I don't know if they were looking for like their like ancestors, you know, riches or other people's riches.
So
I didn't want to be part of it.
is actually...
Oh, grave robbing happens, but in New Orleans, it happens in the daytime. So supposedly the reason they close the cemeteries at night is because this winged, basically this Grim Reaper looking thing with wings comes after you. And I'm like, I kind of want to see that. Who wants to go to the cemeteries at night? My friends are like, we're not doing that. I'm like, we should. Come on. weird shit happened there. I'm sorry, it's in context. Weird stuff happened there. I'm gonna say it.
Hey, it's fine.
You want paranormal? New Orleans is the way to go. There's witches. There's people who
There's hoodoo voodoo.
There's hoodoo voodoo.
There's even werewolves.
There's werewolves?
Wait, what? New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
In New Orleans. Supposedly.
Didn't hear about that one. Do you have something on there that you know?
Well, not on here, but next episode we can go into
there. I know there's vampires in New Orleans.
Yeah, there's werewolves and vampires.
So this sounds like that movie, What We Do in the Shadows. Did I make you watch that? Okay, so there's a movie.
I love the paranormal. I'm just saying.
No, Paranormal's awesome.
I think it's awesome.
So there's this. It's a comedy movie. There's a movie about vampires called What We Do in the Shadows. I believe it's called What We Do in the Shadows. It's directed by the same dude that wrote and he's written and directed. He also wrote and directed Thor Ragnarok. But this is set up like a documentary about these vampires that live together in a flat. Each one's from like a different time period. You have the Nosferatu. He lives in the basement. You have like the very sexy Bram Stoker's like seducing, you know. And then you've got the nerdy one that's from a certain time period, but he doesn't know how to handle himself yet. And then you've got the new guy who's like from like the 80s or 90s. He's like he's still just like kind of an asshole. And then you've got the other new guy. And it's really good. It feels like a documentary. It's so funny though. But I didn't know there were werewolves in New Orleans. I don't know if that's a Twilight thing. Like after Twilight, like, well, there's vampires here. Let's do the werewolf thing.
Twilight.
No, it was before it.
Washington.
I know that, but people love that everywhere, and I don't know why because it's horrible.
It is horrible.
The only good thing about
Twilight...
Twilight...
And that's coming from someone who owned all the books at one point and owned, like, 3 of the movies.
The only good thing about Twilight, the books or the movies, and I'll give it this one thing. That baseball scene in the first movie was pretty awesome.
The one where the only way that they can have home runs is if there's a clap of lightning.
I don't remember that part. I just remember this epic like wire fu baseball scene where like they're like, I got it. They're like, but I'm thinking like I'm thinking back to the I've got it.
That's the whole reason why they play baseball when it's storming is because supposedly they're so powerful when they hit the ball.
Oh Jesus!
That they
you can take over the world. You're all like concerned about baseball. All right, so we kind of touched on everything. I think we got everything set.
However, did you know
me?
about the real vampire hunters? They were actually very educational and very high up in the society, close to political.
Gee, makes you wonder if they were just political hitmen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a vampire. Go kill him. Here's 20 grand. All right, I got it. I got it, Steve. Let me just get my flintlock loaded. Well, 1800s would be like, let me just get my cap and ball loaded. You got my Lamat. It's filled with silver bullets.
I got my silver cross.
Did you really use that silver I gave you for that? No, man. I used it. I chipped it in for like $7 grand.
Yeah, they did travel pretty much all over the world.
Wouldn't doubt it. So, I mean, like, I don't know. What we do with the end of pretty much every show, we go around, we talk about the topics one more time, not in like full detail, but we talk about them in the aspect of, do you believe what you think is real, what you think is not, what you think might be the possibility of things. So I guess we'll start with we're going to start with Kelly, the guest host, on how you believe or what you believe on. We'll just Salem witch trials
with all the subjects, if I believe them or not.
Well, okay, we'll just do witchcraft or witches and vampires. Do you believe in witches? Do you believe in vampires? Do you believe there's a possibility for it to exist?
Witches? Well, the whole thing with with both of them, the base with each one, like the whole drinking of the blood to make you feel better type of thing, help you type of thing.
You said witches.
I know, but witches and vampires.
Okay, I thought you were doing one and then the other. Is like, but they're not the same. Okay.
No, like witches doing spells to like benefit themselves, or because when I looked it up when we watched the video, usually they said witches would do things for pleasure or like some sort of what was it?
Vengeance.
No, it's
sexual.
Sexual, yes, but earthly favors.
So, like, basically, what you're saying is like, hey,
if I pray to you and I do this, you're gonna give me
like. So basically, like, if I get some, the tree you get to grow.
Kind of.
Like they kind of like having like that's kind of
like you help me.
Well,
I
know. Talk about witches being connected and serving the devil.
No. See, once again, that's
that's what the Salem.
No, with that, but I'm saying like with misinterpretation of things, like
But like if it's like Wiccan witches, which is like
actual
Witches in general.
witches, like with the religious belief.
Do I personally believe it? No.
No.
I have a friend who's a Wiccan, and she's tried to teach me a little bit about it, and I'm like, that's your thing, that's cool. And I've had experiences with her, but supposedly I channel her. But
I think that's a normal. Like if you're really good friends with people, I think like you kind of.
Yeah, but I don't believe what she.
No, I get what you don't believe. But you said like channels things like I don't.
Well, she says every time she hangs out with me, I channel her.
But okay. My point being is like with him, like when I'm hanging around him, I can tell if something's wrong. Or you can like it's like a like you know how twins supposedly feel the pain of others.
Instinctual.
It's like an instinctual thing. I don't think it's like magic. I think people once again misunderstand or misinterpret something and say, I channel you or you channel me. It's because like you're good enough friends to know each other, so you can read vibes, you can read the room, and you can read how something's going. Is what I'm saying. Like
true, but when she was talking about me channeling her, that's when I saw things in her apartment.
Once again, manipulation of the mind, power of suggestion. Power of suggestion. I know a lot of people that have said that their houses are haunted, that I've been able to just show them scientific reasons of why they hear things or see things. And I don't know, like even with friends it's the same way. Like
I mean, it's basically what I'm trying to say is yes, it's the whole power of suggestion. Do I believe it myself? No. But I know people who live by it, and that's them. That's the whole thing with vampirism. I just think the people who he suggested, or that he was talking about, were just fucking nuts. And blood just happened to be the common thing that everyone thought that they used. Like Vlad drinking wine that looked like blood.
it was a scare tactic, is what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, but the whole thing of people needing blood to help them, I don't know. I don't really believe in vampires.
Okay. Chris, how about you?
As far as witches go, I believe in the kind that actually just use herbs and stuff like that to more like an herbalist as opposed
That
to
to
an
me is
actual
more of an alchemy.
alchemist.
I think.
But is alchemy considered witchcraft?
Yes.
I think in a lot of places it might be once again misunderstood or misconstrued.
and misconstrued.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing of being an herbalist, yeah, I believe that too.
Well, I mean that's fine. I mean, like, once again, I mean, like, but you have to understand that did tie into like certain not the Salem witch trials, but other witch trials. Is that like there were also nuns that were like even in the Catholic Church, they're like, hey, we know they don't condone it, but these herbs will get rid of that unwanted thing that you can't afford or take care of. So yeah, they were prosecuted for that because it was. So like that is to me, it's more like an alchemist thing. I mean, it's an herbalist thing, but
herbalist, alchemist.
Well, because alchemy is usually using elements to make other elements. So
it's also combined in the fact that people consider them as witches.
Yeah, I can understand that. Because there was a dude that thought if he peed on something, it would make gold, and somehow, because he thought he'd be rich after peeing on all these different elements, he found neon. He figured, yeah.
What do you know?
They're like, oh, it doesn't make gold, but it makes neon. Time to get the disco ready. Mind you, this was like way before disco. So vampires.
As far as how much stuff you have to piss on to get that?
Probably a lot. There's probably a lot.
As far as vampires go, I really don't know as far as like the traditional vampires that we read in fiction. However, there could be such a thing that does exist that we just don't know about. That's always possible.
I think those are just the romanticized
There's
fictions.
also, the fact that it also extended back in way before 3rd millennia BC to the fact that vampirism existed. I mean, that could, yes, be misinterpreting some things.
Yeah, but that old could also mean an extinct race.
Correct. Yes, could also be an extinct race, could also be anything. But as far as like the modern day vampirism, not so much. Like I think that's just a dude. I haven't seen like many women that are like, I'm a vampire. Like mostly it's like the dude. It's mostly guys.
It's mostly the guys. Like mind you, I still dress like it when I can. I just can't afford it now. But like my goth outfits, you know, like with the trench coats and like when I used to wear the suit and tie every day. That was my, you know, like people are like, are you a vampire? I'm like, no, I'm not a vampire. I just like to dress nice. But like, you know, like I consider myself like it was a pretty much business goth. Like I'm dressed nice to get a job, but I'm also following, you know, the darkness that I love. But I have come across several people in certain places that they're like they claim to be a vampire, but they're always men and they're always trying to like hit on women and seduce them with their
it's the whole romanticism thing.
Yeah, but once again, like where did that start?
I want to suck a black.
Because I didn't start because even before Twilight existed, I had come across.
It started with Bram Stoker's book.
But Dracula's, I guess, in the movie he is, but the book, I don't remember being very romantic.
He was very romantic towards Lucy. He was always romantic towards Lucy.
Yeah, even though...
Because of Lucy reminded him of his...
late wife.
Late wife.
Oh, a little bit of trivia for you. Do you know have you seen the movie with Keanu Reeves and, you know, like that Dracula movie? Bram Stoker's Dracula, the movie? It's like the only Bram Stoker's Dracula. Wow, come on. Have you seen it?
No.
I've seen Van Helsing, though.
Oh, wow. Wow, with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
That is like his only bad movie. Besides Australia, that's his only bad movie.
I actually liked it.
Oh, it was alright. It was just like, I don't know. Frankenstein was pretty cool. Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein's monster was ironically the closest thing to the actual monster in the books, too. Because he was smart, not really...
What do you mean, not really?
Not dumbed down.
What was his name? Have you ever seen Robert De Niro?
Yes, Mary Shelley.
Wow,
that one was good too.
Did he get an Oscar for that? I don't think he did. He should have. Like,
but I'm talking about as far as like the Van Helsing movie. That was the only monster that was correct.
Okay, I get
I
you.
liked Van Helsing though.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Kate Beckinsale annoys me. Those movies that she's in are also the
chick.
She started the romanticism of vampires and werewolves. That. Besides Bram Stoker's,
the chick from
the Underworld movies.
Yeah,
that was the first Twilight, minus the books. There were no books for those.
Yeah, but at least it wasn't like cheesy.
Every movie was the same.
How many times can you redo a vampire chick movie?
I could come up with one really awesome, and I wouldn't even have to use like.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I don't have to make a movie that's Blood Rain without Blood Rain.
Go ahead, tell me.
Really?
Female vampire, sure.
I'd make an actual factual movie about Elizabeth Bathory, because there really hasn't been one. But
would you make her really hot in it?
No. I make her this homely looking woman that thinks she can
like me.
No, not like you. That's not what I meant.
Wow,
Jesus,
I
mean like no, you'd have to. Okay,
who would be the woman who plays her? What actress would you choose?
You're going to say it's because of looks, and that's the problem. But Charlize Theron. But not because of looks, but because of monster.
I have to look at her again. I told you, I'm not good with names.
I get this. But Charlize Theron, she played this character in a movie called Monster, and it's an actual serial killer that she played. She looks just like Eileen Wuornos.
Oh.
How do you spell it?
Charlize, Charlize.
Think of a meth head, and like times it by like 10.
Charlize Theron isn't, but...
Okay.
And then THER.
Oh, why didn't you just say it was the chick from frickin' Prometheus?
Because I've never seen that movie, and that's
the evil one.
Yeah, but look at her as Eileen Wuornos. Just put monster after Charlize Theron, and you'll see why. Like I would pick. She's a really really good actress.
I know she is.
It'd be either her or Christina Ricci, because Christina Ricci can do.
Oh my god.
Exactly my point. I think she won an Oscar for that, or she got nominated. So like I would pick her for that.
Jeez, that doesn't even look like her.
Yeah, she went out of her way. And then if you look up the actual character,
look at that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the movie.
Nothing like her.
I was a manager at Hollywood Video when that movie dropped. I'm like, I have to see this, and it was amazing. I watched it twice in one night. Like, no, it's just because like I had to give like
an American South African actress. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Is she married to?
I don't think she's married. I don't know if she's married to anybody. I think Charlize Theron's like, I'm just doing my thing because she's amazing.
I think I've seen her with her.
And even then, if you wanted to get like, I guess I couldn't say factual though, because I would make it more fiction, but I'd have more factual, if that makes sense. like, I'd show the fictitious story. Like, I would make the movie fictional, right?
That's supposedly her husband.
Charlize Theron's married to Sean Penn? When did that happen? That's crazy. I didn't know that. Sean Penn is married to Charlize? That's news to
That's
me.
her husband. I didn't know that.
Okay, so this is when it came down to it, what I would do with that is
So
that,
you
like,
have her be Miss
I
bathe in blood.
No, hold on. I'd show it this way. Like, the whole movie would be filmed fictional, right? Okay?
Okay.
So, like, it would show up until the point to where everything happened that supposedly happened. I'd have to do more research, but if my theory is true that she was politically railroaded, then I'd show the real facts. That when she was older, she got railroaded politically because her husband died. She had no choice to do anything. So then I'd show her in, like, kind of like the humbled down version. Like, in the fictionalized version, yeah, she'd be attractive because that's the fictionalized version. Elizabeth Bathory in all fictional stories is attractive. That's kind of the whole thing. She bathes in blood. La la la, she gets younger, she gets prettier. That's the whole thing. So, like, I'd show that. But the fictional thing, I would show it as, like, her aged and humbled, be like, at the end, like, it would show, like, this whole montage of what actually happened. And it would just be her getting railroaded politically, like, hey, you don't want you in power because you're female, we're going to, like, you know.
I wonder how many people think that might be a possibility that happened with her. If, like, your theory.
I don't know. I mean, there's actual archaeologists that believe that. I'm not sure what their names were, but that's where I got the theory from. They were talking about, like, how when they did a dig at her castle, or, you know, like, they did whatever they could at the castle, what's left of it, that they're pretty much proving that, like, there's not enough bodies in the area for that to be true.
Maybe she buried them other places.
That's possible, but the problem is the theory and legend is that she dropped the bones and remains down a pit of some sort, or disposed of them, you know, like, in some sort of manner that is on the grounds. So I do in that aspect think that she was kind of, because she was female, was railroaded. I think it's more of the witchcraft type thing.
Okay.
But since somebody had to use the bathroom, he didn't finish his whole thing. Witches.
No, he finished.
Did you?
Finished, yeah.
He believed witches with the whole herbal stuff and vampires and magic.
Oh, Patrick.
I kind of think so.
It's wonderful to see you. Yes.
Oh my god.
Witches or vampires? Do you believe in any of them? Do you believe that there's a similarity or a possibility that there's a reason for it?
I believe, well, let's start on the fact of witches. I believe witches exist. I believe that...
Okay, well, hold on. We all know witches exist. Okay? But I mean, like, in the... like.
Okay, let me be more descriptive. I believe
the
that
Hocus Pocus way?
witchcraft...
Yeah. Okay, so, like, the Hocus Pocus witches, do you think, like, that's a thing? Like...
I mean, I think that that's too, like not comical, but it's too, like... Sort of looking
No, I don't mean the comical aspect. I mean with the magic and the...
Like, actually
you know, like,
using...
actually being able to...
I believe it. But in this aspect, I would put it in this aspect. I would play with a Ouija board before I play with magic again.
Well, it's good because
Again?
that would be...
Again. I've dabbled in a little bit of magic.
God.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've dabbled
It seems like this is news to these two as well.
I've dabbled in a little bit of spell
Surprise, Matt!
White or black?
White.
Green?
White, and I would play white, and I would play with a Ouija board before I ever touched magic again. For the simple fact that whenever...
I feel like this is something we're going to have to go back to, because, like...
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How about next week?
No, because we had to come up with topics after this for next week. But we might have a callback to this. No, next week's the Ouija board thing, isn't it?
Okay, so let's get back to him because he didn't answer about vampires.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's skip about the...
Oh, you talk about doing witchcraft and now you're apparently bleeding?
I'm picking
What is
scab.
this? What is this? See? No. Maybe
Maybe
I don't want to... Maybe we shouldn't do a Ouija board
He's
thing with
turned
him.
into a vampire.
No, he wouldn't be bleeding if he was a vampire.
Well, supposedly they
come
do
on.
bleed.
Vampires do
blood.
blood.
They
You
bleed
know where
out
it's
of their
been.
mouth.
It's been in my
That's
body.
because of the blood of the innocent
Of
they've
the-
already sucked
Blah,
out
blah,
of.
blah.
Are you mocking me?
So, other than the... So, keep going about your witches, and do you like vampires?
Oh yeah, I love vampires.
No,
You
not if
believe
you... No, it's not... What the fuck? It's not if you love
He loves the kind that he is.
the sparkly or matte finish. Not matte as in me. I mean like matte like M-A-T-T-E.
No, I don't like that sparkly vampire stuff. I like
Alright, so-
how a traditional vampire should be.
So a Nosferatu.
Now,
He loves them Nosferatus with the pointy buck tooth.
Now, do I believe in their existence?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility, but I mean...
And mind you, I don't mean like, and this is, I should have told you guys this too, I don't mean like, even, just not even present day, like, the reason I
If
mentioned...
they existed back then, you mean?
Well, here's the thing, because like, you got like chupacabras.
Mm-hmm.
What does chupacabra refer to or stand for? It's translated basically roughly to goat sucker. What does it do? It sucks the blood of goats. And oddly enough, what do they look like?
The devil.
No. Yeah, the devil.
Well, you just went all Kathy Bates Waterboy right there, like the
Sorry.
devil. They look like the devil. Mama said they look like the devil. Vicky Valaquin, I can't see you because Mama says you the devil. You're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
What?
I know, I got into the character and I was like, oh. Mama's right, you're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
He's the devil.
Because they have all those teeth and no way to smile. No reason to smile.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. No, I thought we were getting...
They look like...
Yeah.
What,
It's okay to have humor. It's alright to have humor. Trust me, I was
No,
really...
but like when we were watching it, like the documentary, they were talking about how the devil is depicted as being like a goat person.
No. Okay, chupacabras don't look like a goat. They're called goat suckers because people in Mexico find... you don't know what a chupacabra is?
I know that it's a myth, and I know that
It's not
Mexican.
necessarily a myth, though, because, okay, this is where it gets weird. It's kind of a side subject real quick. Chupacabras supposedly do exist because they've supposedly found them. So chupacabras are goat suckers. That's what chupacabra stands for. Basically, something sucking the blood of goats and leaving them for dead, leaving them there. People find these goats that are like, they were healthy the day before, but now they're like compressed and missing like their blood.
And emaciated.
But everything else is there. Yeah, they're emaciated at that point. So goat suckers, which is the chupacabra, the first descriptions were oddly enough very close to a Nosferatu.
Mm.
You know, like a pale looking lengthy creature, or you know, with like a weird bald big head. Like it is literally almost close to that. Yeah.
So basically, people are thinking that a Nosferatu is a goat sucker.
No, I'm saying like it's tied together in this
tied.
aspect. But they have found these creatures that are like, they look like wolves, but they have like elongated faces, and they have...
Coyotes?
No, they're not coyotes. They have these hollow teeth. Yeah.
And that's how they suck the blood out?
They think that they think this is an actual creature that's just very rare. And you can look at pictures of them. They have like...
I don't want to, because I gotta go to bed soon.
No, they just look like
I don't want nightmares.
They just look like wolves with longer snouts, and they've got like, for some reason, in their fangs, they have hollowed. It's like hollowed out. Like they don't know why, but it's like hollow.
Maybe it's an evolution.
It's possible. I mean, like it would be a far more advanced and more efficient way to live if you didn't have to eat something. You just had to suck its blood for a little bit. I'm not saying drain it, but and that's what I'm saying. Like vampires, maybe that's an evolutionary thing that we just killed off.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Like what if
there's still. You said there's still people that need it, so they're.
Well, in that aspect, but I'm like talking about like sucking. Like that's like licking blood and like drinking human blood.
Oh.
Like that's not like What I'm saying is like vampires. People don't understand how vampires seem to work. Like they suck the blood into their fangs.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a hole in their fangs, and they suck it up into it. They're
Like
like
a straw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be on Sesame Street in an hour. I gotta count some stuff for some kids. I have to use a different accent, but they don't know. It's fine. And so they do that thing, and they have holes in their fangs. That's how they suck the blood. Like so, when they bite into your vein, they suck it through a hole in their fang. It's not like they're actually like eating your blood or drinking their blood. That's what people don't seem to understand about vampires. It's just I don't know. It's more like cannibalism if they're like chewing at your throat and like blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So you do believe? You don't believe?
No,
Vampires.
I want to believe in vampires.
Final answer?
Yeah, I want to believe.
Would you like to phone a friend?
Do I want to phone a friend?
50-50?
No, I don't want to phone a friend.
Look, if you don't use the lifelines, I can't help you here.
Or don't.
All right.
Regis.
Jeopardy?
Oh, wait, yeah,
That's
wrong
how I want to
Wrong
be.
game.
How do you want to
Wrong
be
game.
over there?
Wrong game.
Ah!
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Who wants to be a
Who wants to be a
millionaire?
millionaire?
Sorry, I was just thinking how I want to be a millionaire.
Starring
Everybody.
Regis Spielman.
Regis Spielman?
I don't know his last name.
That's what.
Spielman!
Spielman.
Regis
Sorry.
Spielman, which is
Close
also
enough.
Little Nicky. Best cameo ever is him and Little Nicky.
Yes.
Just gonna put that out there. Yes, so like paranormally, do I believe in witches and ghosts?
Yes. Do you believe
Not ghosts.
that
Vampires.
in the vampires and the witches?
Do I believe? Well, let me explain some stuff. I've got a lot of things going on in life. So,
Explain.
witches, I curse them to hell. I damn them there. They're the vein of my existence. They don't even offer me a vein. You see what I did there?
I see.
No. To be serious though, do I believe in witches? I do, because I've known witches. Do I believe that their power exists? Not to sound like a jerk to them, I don't. I have, like I said before, with the whole religious thing, what I would fall to would be paganism or Wiccan or even Odinism. Like, I would not. That's if I had to choose. I don't have to choose, because luckily we're in a country and a world that you don't have to choose. I don't necessarily believe that the magic is real. The reason being is I've seen some pretty, once again in context this is okay, so I've seen some pretty damning evidence that magicians are real. But I know they're not. Chris Angel blew my mind. He freaked my mind.
Mind free.
He did. He freaked my mind. Do I know that he's not a witch? He's not a warlock. He don't know that he's not like the second coming of Christ, you know? Like, he's just a magician. He has figured out how to make these tricks real in a certain aspect with illusion. He made me believe, but I don't believe because I'm smarter than that. We've gone over this. This is why we have a paranormal group together. So witches, yeah, I believe that if you believe in their power, that the power might be real, because that's, once again, power of suggestion.
Power of suggestion.
Manifestation of the mind does works and does magical things. My allergies suck right now. Just going to point it out. As far as vampires go, I've met plenty of people who think they're vampires. I've met people in clubs that are these guys that are like, I'm here to make your dream come true.
With the accent and
Do
everything.
you want me to do
Picture
whatever?
And the hand on the knee.
Maybe not, but we're just going to do the hand on the knee thing. Because I want to make them uncomfortable, because I feel like this is all the women that feel uncomfortable.
Do you feel uncomfortable, Christian?
I'm fine.
I will buy you a drink. See, I can't partake in the
You gotta get
vibration.
like up in his face. That's how.
I can buy you a drink, but I don't believe in the vibration of alcohol, because it does nothing for me, you see. I am a vampire. I suck blood. I need this. I need the
I
sustenance.
need your blood.
So, I will buy you a couple of drinks.
I will
be
get
good.
your saucy, and then I will bite you.
Ah, yes. See.
Patrick has a camera.
It's not the camera. You won't see me in the camera, so it'll just be Christian
won't
talking to himself. That's what happens, you see. He doesn't know vampires. You see, you can't see me in the reflection. Don't mind that reflection there, that doesn't exist. You're just drunk. I've already bought you two. 3 more to go, and you're mine! I do not believe in vampires. I believe that some people might have medical conditions that mimic
That need
vampirism. And I believe that, and once again with the whole witchcraft thing, and like the persecution of innocence, I believe there might have been some people that were snuffed out as vampires because they might have had symptoms that mimicked
Mimicked it. Yeah.
vampirism. Like, oh, this dude doesn't go out at night, or this dude doesn't go out in the day. Weird. But he's a night worker. He works at the docks, but they don't know that. Oh,
It's a little creepy.
this dude eats a lot of really rare steak, and he eats sushi. That's raw. Oh, see, I'm seeing some things.
Did sushi even exist back then?
Actually, sushi's existed for a long time.
I know, but in America at that point.
I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about in general. Do I have to use
Oh.
an accent for everything? I can't do every accent. I can just do Irish, Dracula, and then I can do like British stuff. But I can't do like.
Do Irish.
Do you think he's a vampire? I don't know. I mean, maybe, possibly. He eats a lot of raw fish. You know. I think it's called sushi. I don't know. I've never heard anything like that. Did sushi exist today?
Does he not like garlic?
Does he like garlic? No.
He's a vampire.
Well, that's fine, because us Irish, we eat a lot of bland food anyway. I do, because I'm actually Irish, so we do eat a lot of bland food. Garlic. I'll give him a pass on that. How does he feel about steak? He likes it rare. Well, so do we. Oh, crap. Vampires are just Irish people. Just learned something about myself. Oh.
Well, about yourself, yes.
But, and you should probably delete that because that probably sounded like the worst Irish accent
No,
I've
it's
done.
actually pretty decent.
Normally I do a really good job at it. Like, if I'm put on the spot, I seem to scuff it up. Realistically, though, vampires, I might find that maybe we killed off an evolution, like mutants. Maybe we killed off an evolutionary chain that was what we were supposed to become. Because there was only a few of them, we killed them off. Other than that, with the whole like vampire hunters at the time in the 1800s being like closer to politics, I feel like that's just a political way of like, I'm going to tell you something. From what I understand,
Don't sound like anybody in particular.
I'm not exactly. There's people in this world. They suck blood. They're vampires. I will pay all of them to go away. Or I can have somebody that's close to me, because I have lots of people close to me. I will have them hunt out and snuff out these vampires. Now, the person opposing me right now, Mr. Vlad F. Kennedy, he shares a name to somebody. Very dark name. I think I'm going to snuff him out. I will have that happen.
Snuff them out?
Snuff him out.
Send out your vampire hunter elite people.
That would be a great movie. Donald Trump, the vampire hunter. Hirer.
Oh my god.
I don't care if I mention his name. I can't.
Oh
Whatever.
my god, I could just imagine how bad that would be. Just
We're
like
gonna go viral.
Abraham Lincoln vampire.
We're gonna get viral. Hey, that was a no. Don't even hate that movie. I haven't read the book. That movie was awesome, and it also showed something that a lot of people know about Abraham Lincoln. Do you know that Abraham Lincoln? Do you know that Abraham Lincoln before professional wrestling was fake? Well, I say quote unquote fake. Professional wrestling, you know, like WWE stuff.
Yeah, sissy stuff. Go ahead.
What? What?
You know I used to do that.
Yes, I know. It's the whole thing.
It hurts. It hurts a lot. It's
I'm
not.
Sorry.
They're like, oh, you'll be fine.
I'm sorry.
Ow! You just punched me in the face. Yeah, you'll be okay. You sold that really well. Yeah, because you actually punched me in the face. Realistically, though, before the choreography of it all and the pageantry, because it is a show.
What was he, a boxer?
No, he was a full on professional wrestler. Like the same thing I used to do, but real. Like when body slams happened back then. Yet today they still hurt and they're real. But the person I'm doing it with would protect me. So like I'd still hit the mat, but they'd protect my head from hitting the mat. So
sissy stuff.
But back. Okay.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So Abraham Lincoln was like undefeated for like 245 matches. Has never been defeated and still technically the world champion. And I mean back then, like he would get in the ring.
They wouldn't have any sort of protection.
No, it would just be a real fight. He'd just assault and like annihilate people. Like Abraham Lincoln was
shit out of people.
Yeah.
So then the fact that he was a vampire hunter, possibly.
That's what. Okay, that's kind of where that all started. Like I think they even mentioned his like wrestling career in that movie. Mm-hmm. But that movie was good. I haven't read the book. The movie was really good. I liked the movie. It was enjoyable.
I saw like parts of it.
I don't know. It's just something about it. It was like really good to me. Like,
or maybe it's just the whole thing where it's like, man, Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter, he's so brutal.
He was though. It was so good.
It's a guy thing.
It's not just a guy thing. It's a really good movie. Watch it. I'm serious. Like it's a good movie.
Yeah, but
you like Van Helsing? You'll really enjoy Abraham Lincoln Vampire.
Loved.
You just like Hugh Jackman. That's it.
Yes,
You're just like I'm a Wolverine lover. Anything Wolverine's in, but he won't do Deadpool.
I just thought about what he called him earlier.
Jack Human?
No.
Oh.
No, what he called
that's
Wolverine.
his nick. That's actually his nickname. It's
no, what he...
It's Wolvie. That's one of his nicknames.
Really?
Yeah, the comic books is Wolvie.
Oh.
He even calls himself that.
Oh, I thought... Okay.
But usually, mostly, I think it was like Jubilee and some of his other closer friends are like, hey, Wolvie. Like, that was his real name. Or his nickname.
Mm-hmm. That's cute.
It's a real name. He knows his stuff. That's why he has the other show with me.
He doesn't know his stuff.
Anyway,
But
vampires... I don't know if they exist. I don't know.
Do you wish they did?
Only if I could be Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Can we have Theodore Roosevelt the Vampire Hunter? I think that'd be like way better. Or like
no, you would have to make him something different.
Okay, fine. Theodore Roosevelt versus the paranormal world. It's just him like
what about Theodore Roosevelt, the werewolf hunter?
No, because he'd fight everything. The dude got shot in the stomach and gave an hour-and-a-half speech and then said, before going to the hospital, it's going to take more than that to kill this bull moose. and they got taken to the hospital. That dude was like, he lost his eyesight in a it was to dispute some sort of thing, like some sort of like normally today it'd be like, you can't do this. This is this treaty. You can't. Back then it's like, fine. You want to do that? Fine. I'll challenge you to a boxing match, bare knuckle, right here. Like, what we're gonna do?
Whoever wins,
Right
that's how we decide.
Yeah, and he did that in the Oval Office. He won the fight, but he lost like eyesight in his left or right eye. The dude is like the craziest, like most badass president ever.
Why don't you just make it like a series?
That would be cool. I think
Make him fight something different every time.
Yeah, it'd be like Supernatural, but with Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, but what would you start off with? What would he fight first?
Donald Trump.
So you're saying Donald Trump is some sort of paranormal?
Yeah, he's a chupacabra. Look at him. Look at him. He's just wearing a wig. Okay, we went off tangent here. I don't believe in vampires per se. I believe there might be medical issues that pertain to it. Witches, I believe once again, like alchemy, which has become physics. And what is the other term for it when you mix chemicals together? Chemistry. Sorry. Look, it's been a long day. I've only had one day off.
And it's also 9 minutes till 3 a.m.
Yeah, it gets cut. Don't worry. We're fine. We're
I'm
good.
more concerned about this one.
Yeah, he'll be alright. We'll just go on there and watch TV until somebody comes in. It's cool. Anyway, so I guess we'll end it with that. We'll come up with the next topics. You guys will...
Yet.
Huh?
So we're not quite done yet. We also need to go through our things that we have as far as Patreon and the stuff.
Oh, you could do that. I was going to let you do that. I was just getting to the end of it.
Gotcha.
All right.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, Christian, if you want to go ahead and do that now, then here's Christian with some information that you need to know.
Yes, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/bumpofthenight paranormal. Also, check out our Twitter page. We actually post some deals and stuff going on for our shop.spreadshirt.com/bumpofthenight paranormal.
Free shipping?
Which is our merch. Right now it's free shipping until it starts on the 21st, I want to say, to the 24th.
So go buy a shirt or go buy I don't know, go buy anything. We have a lot of stuff on there. Koozies. We have dog bandanas. Eventually we're going to have a special edition dog bandana. We do.
Yep.
We're going to change it, though, for the dog bandana, which you should do before this ends, because it wouldn't take that long.
I just need to find a picture of a cat.
A cat bandana?
No, just, you know what?
Why don't you get in and put it on Salem? Oh, that'd be so cute.
You don't need to, just keep the house. Just keep the house, and just change it to Bark in the Night Paranormal.
I already have it say that, but I've left.
No, don't put a cat. Just leave it. Just leave it in this house, because the dogs, they bark at everything. Even the house.
Yeah,
well, because
especially lightning.
I already took out the house, so.
Anyway, okay, so any other places
spiel
that you can hear us, see us?
Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bumpofthenight paranormal.
Yeah, usually we have the episode of that, which includes video references, which I find more entertaining. One of our best viewers, she always waits for the YouTube version. She would love for us to get it out quicker, but I keep telling her, like, we do the audio one, and then the next week, usually the video drops, because then we record the next episode, so it keeps you going. So you always have something to listen to or watch. Any other shout-outs? Any other things that you would like to say? Other than Parker Brothers for the Ouija board, we're going to be playing you soon.
No.
Anchor, you can also check us out on anchor.fm, or just Google us, Bump of the Night Paranormal Radio, or Bump of the Night Paranormal. We're actually the second link now, but our videos are still...
Wait a minute.
Number one.
How did we go to second link on Google? We were first for a while. How did that happen?
It just happened.
So we still
the other one.
So we still on our name?
No, it's just the UK guys for the investigation.
They haven't posted anything, no.
No, apparently something. I don't know. It keeps going back and forth between both of us. Check out our
They keep
Facebook
looking for
page.
us, but they don't know. So Bump in the Night Paranormal Radio. Just put that out. We're there. We're here. Get used to it.
We're everywhere. I mean, you guys are. Sorry. I don't know if I'm...
Patrick!
Yes.
Anything that you'd like to add to the outro?
Well, I don't know if the guys have mentioned it, but very soon, next week is it? We are actually going to be doing a live Ouija board.
Woo! How are we doing this? Because I don't know. How are we doing live?
They're
They're not going to hear this, though. This is probably going to come out
do
before the Ouija board thing.
I don't know how we're going to do it.
So if you have a time machine by the time this episode comes out... remember, go back in time, watch our Ouija board special.
Library.
Especially if you hear a news story about 3 men dying doing a Ouija board, then you'll know. You can go back and see
We're
it.
not gonna die. I mean,
What about the library renting out the cameras and stuff?
Can't do it at the library. That's
No,
in the
not
daytime.
doing
You have to
it.
do it at the nighttime.
Oh, I'm talking about to get the cameras to film it live.
I don't know. We'd have to go get the cards. I don't have time to do that kind of stuff. This is what we were supposed to be talking about. But
Okay, well, we'll talk
Fine.
about it after the show.
anyway, is that we all did? Would you like to add
Do
anything?
you want to add anything, Kelly?
I would also like to add that this is our 7th episode.
Woo!
Our
Number
7th episode. I'm proud of that fact.
Styling and recording. Woo!
I mean, it's been a hell of a ride thus far, and you know,
You make it seem like this is going to be our last.
it's
We're
not
still
gonna be
gonna
our
keep
last.
going.
It's not, it is not, absolutely not going to be our last.
It's been one hell of a ride, but I have to say this. I quit. Good night. Thanks, Patrick.
No, hell no. We're just getting
Anyway, all
started.
right. So, anybody have anything to add? That's it.
Do we got any topics for next week? Oh,
No, we're going to talk
doing
about
the
that. We
week.
don't. What up? Kelly has something to add.
You just call me Kaylee.
I said Kelly.
I heard Kaylee.
I think you're just because you mispronounced your name. It's fine.
No, my name is Kelly.
There we go. That time it didn't sound like Kelly.
I'm
It's all right. I get smacked a lot. It's fine.
I really don't want you guys to do the Ouija board.
But it's science, and it has to
I
be
don't
done.
care if it's
has
science.
to
I
be
had
done.
a dream. It's a bad feeling. Please don't.
It's going to be fine.
And then we'll ask whatever with our recorders, which I need the recorder back for
I
that.
still have it.
Good.
At my house.
Scratched up. I saw it. Well, we're not doing it here.
It's not
So,
even-
hey, can we go down to Fort Lauderdale? Do it where she lives?
She lives in
Lakewood?
Lake Worth.
I live in Lake Worth.
I know. I changed it.
was
I
gonna
got
say
it real
West
quick there. See how? Sorry, Fort Lauderdale, Lake Worth.
He has to come down and see me anyway.
Yeah, we'll just record the Ouija board at her house. You know,
I mean,
that way, if anything goes wrong, she'll have to deal with it. Not us.
no.
That's funny.
I'll
My
wait till
father
we
will
go
never
off
let
air.
that into our house.
Yeah.
Not even on the property.
Not even on the
Like,
patio.
Mom, Dad, guess what? Guess what we're doing for Halloween?
Guess what? I had a Ouija board for Halloween.
Nope.
Yeah, right. So I guess that's gonna be the end of the show.
Why
No.
do you do that?
All right, yeah. Why do you do the accent? Look, leave
You
the
do that
accents to
too
the
well.
professionals, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Damn with the.
Why do you always...
I like doing the accents.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
God.
Yes.
Do you want me to do it in Broken Man? I can do it in Broken Man. All right, everybody. This has been the end of episode 7. Yay!
Woo! Woo! Yeah!
Can you do Yay and Mickey Mouse? If I do it in Kermit, can you do it in Mickey Mouse?
You
just
have
gotta
to
get
be
in it.
quiet. I want to hear this.
All right. All right, everybody. This has been episode 7 of Bumpin' the Night Paranormal Radio. Yeah! You're supposed to do the Mickey Mouse thing. All right, anyway. Whatever. To get serious. Jeez. To get serious for a second, because this show is supposed to be kind of serious. We do
Kind
crack
of.
jokes. Well, we crack jokes to kind of... Sometimes it gets a little bit dark.
Lighten
So I
the
want to
mood.
explain that. Yeah, we gotta lighten the mood sometimes. And we don't want you to go to bed having nightmares and, like, fearing for things in the dark.
Don't.
Because there's really not anything that you need to fear in the dark.
You
And
should-
if you do, if you think you have something,
Don't be
give us a call. We'll investigate it, and we'll
gonna
figure out how to
call?
fix it for you.
We're not the Ghostbusters.
We're paranormal investigators. We do this.
Yes, I know, but you're like, who are you gonna call?
No, I didn't say who you're going to call. I said call us. I didn't say who you're going to call. I wasn't like throwing it out there that they should call somebody else. Call Bumpin' the Night Paranormal. Because we can solve your problem either by science or by other means if necessary. So,
I'm gonna
with that...
investigate somewhere.
Huh?
I'm gonna investigate somewhere.
No, we'll eventually get to that. We'll get back to it for you and me, basically. But we'll get to that.
Yes, remember to check out the Patreon page.
Everything you do, everything you donate for Patreon, everything you buy shirt-wise, it doesn't go to our pockets. It goes into a fund that we use to buy new equipment for not only the podcast, but for the Paranormal Group, which will allow you to see live investigations
We
and
can
see
see our
things.
faces.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. You won't see our faces.
Yeah, they will.
No, because it will be like
Matt,
focusing on...
everyone needs to see your Viking Jesus self.
Okay. Anyway, I guess with that being said, I'm Matthew Ferry, joined by my co-hosts once again are...
Christian Sakara.
He was
When I
pointing
point,
towards
when I
Matt.
point, you did that at the intro. I point to him, I hear.
Towards Patrick.
All right, redo.
No, we're gonna roll with it.
Patrick Palella.
And our guest host for the evening.
Callie.
Once again, I'm Matthew Ferry. This has been Bumping the Night Paranormal. And on the count of 3, but you won't get this because I'm sorry because you haven't been part of it. No.
I'm not. I'm waiting.
Okay, so on the count of 3, we will
Jeez,
say.
I'm waiting.
We will say the outro like we have been doing. Remember, folks, if it bumps in the night, we bump back.